utilization of public finances. In particular, Article 207 established the County Revenue Fund and clearly stipulates the money shall not be withdrawn from the revenue fund unless the controller of budget has approved. Number 10, Section 30, subsection 3 of the County Government Act obligates the governor to provide leadership in county governance, be accountable for the management and use of public county resources, and to promote, amongst others, good governance and competitiveness of the county. Number 11, the governor has in multiple occasions directly and indirectly engaged in acts and conduct which severally and collectively constitute gross violation of the Constitution, gross violation of other written laws, gross misconduct and abuse of office. Number 12, by his acts and conduct, the governor has exposed the office of the governor, the assembly, and the people of Kericho to ridicule, embarrassment, shame, and disrepute. Number 13, the conduct of the governor has been scandalous and embarrassing to high office of the county governor, an office held in public trust and whose authority ought to be exercised in a manner consistent with the purpose and objects of the Constitution. Number 14, the conduct of the governor has made it impossible for the county to be governed as it ought to be, compromised service delivery, and jeopardized the functions of both arms of the county government of Kericho. It has therefore become untenable for the governor to continue being in office. Number 15, the governor has variously committed constitutional wrongs that subvert the structure of the government and undermine the integrity of office and even the Constitution itself. The significant effects of the conduct, i.e., undermining the integrity of the office, disregard of constitutional duties and oath of office, arrogation of power, and abuse of governmental process, has had an adverse impact on running and administration of the Kericho County government. And number 16, the governor's continued stay in office has and will continue to undermine effective service delivery to be to the detriment of the people of Kericho County, in whose trust the governor holds the office. The Assembly resolves to impeach the governor under Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Government Act, and Standing Order number 74 of Kericho County Assembly Standing Orders on the following grounds. Number 1, A, gross violation of the Constitution and other laws. That is gross violation of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya 2010, the County Government Act 2012, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015, the Public Finance Management Act 2012, and Kericho County laws that has been approved by this House over time. Under A, Roman number 1, misappropriation, misallocation, and illegal drawings of county revenue and county finances. 1, on various occasions since his election as a governor and subsequent assumptions of office, the governor has engaged in various acts of gross violation of Article 10, 183, and 201 of the Constitution, Section 102 and 109 of the PFM Act, Cap 4112A, and the provisions of the Kericho County Rating Act number 5 of 2019 as follows. A, presiding over an administration which has deliberately refused, failed, neglected, and omitted to automate revenue collection, thus opening up the county's own source revenue to pilferage, misappropriation, and theft. Number B, the county government advertised for the procurement of integrated county revenue management system via an advertisement dated 14 December 2023, despite the tender being responsive and a compliant tenderer being proposed by the tendering committee for the award of the tender. There is evidence that the governor frustrated the award of the said tender. Number C, the absence of the automated payment system has adversely impacted on the revenue raising ability of the county through deliberate undercharging of business permits, fees, and miscategorization of zones where businesses are actually situated. For instance, single business permits are issued to business owners at Zone B and Zone C, which attract less charges when the actual business is situated at Zone A to avoid payment of the actual charges. Similarly, property situated in areas that attract higher rates are miscategorized, charged, and issued clearance certificate for areas that are zoned for lower rates, thus perpetrating revenue leaks. Number D, the governor presides over an administration that has totally disregarded the valuation rule prepared and passed by the County Assembly in 2019, pursuant to the Valuation and Rating Act, Cap 266. Thus, the county continues to collect property rates under the old valuation rule, occasioning the county substantial revenue losses. Number E, the revenue leaks and losses has seen the county miss revenue targets for 2 consecutive years, whereby the revenue collections fall short of the projected revenue by more than 50%. Number F, the governor has violated the provision of Section 104 of the PFM Act 2012. Once through his acts of omission, commission, and inaction, he continues to preside over a broken public financial management system, which has made the county treasury ineffective. Number G, There is a nexus between the disappearance and or loss of the county revenue and the governor's opulent lifestyle since he was elected. Indeed, within 2 years since his election, the governor's wealth has grown exponentially, so much so that he can now afford to contribute up to Kenya shillings 1 million in a single RMB. Indeed, in one of the church functions, the governor was captured bragging that whereas he didn't have the resources when he first died, Rakomi to loosely translating this time, I have enough resources. Number 2 of violation, that is number A, is on or about 31st August 2023, the governor engaged in gross violation of Articles 10, 183, 201, 207, and 28 of the Constitution, and Section 102, 109, and 110 of the PFM Act 2012 by launching a program dubbed Equalizer Kazi Mutai Initiative and drawing county funds towards initiative without a legislation to anchor the initiative, public participation, prior approval of the county assembly and the control of budget, and prior approval of the budget and appropriation approval. Number 3, the present and former county executive committee members and chief officers have variously reported coercion by the governor to make financial allocations for governor's own use from the funds allocated to the respective departments, which funds they were required to remit through the governor's personal assistance. Number 4, violation of Article 201A, D, E of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 on principles of public finance management, and Article 226 as read with Article 227 of the Constitution by presiding over glaring irregularities evidenced by number A, irregular award of contracts and evasion of accountability, willful interfering in the procurement process and the award of tenders. Number C, skewed tender awards to various contractors at inflated rate and in collusion with fraudulent contractors and suppliers. Number D, irregular implementation of various programs in the county. And E, intentionally and negligently presiding over massive theft of county public funds as evidenced by the Auditor General's report for the financial year ended 30th June 2023, which raised red flags over various projects. Number 5, in the first charges on 15th August 2023, the governor compensated the victims of Londiani accident from the county emergency fund to cover up for the funds raised by the public and misappropriated by a committee he had formed to steer the fund drive, and without a cogent explanation of how the funds publicly raised for the victims had been expended. Honorable members, evidence of the governor's engagement, connivance, and complicity in the aforementioned acts of misappropriation, misallocation, and illegal drawings of county revenue and county finances is to be found from Roman number 1 to Roman number 13, as indicated in page 8. Charge number 2 is misappropriation and or abetting misappropriation of public raising funds. Number 1 is on various dates between 4 July 2023 and 9 July 2023. The governor grossly violated the provisions of Article 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution and Sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 by A, overseeing misappropriation of the funds raised for the victims of horrendous Londiani Junction accident tragedy in which over Kenya shillings 9 million of public raised funds were lost. Number B, reneging on his undertaking to implement the report of the County Assembly SADC Committee formed to probe the misappropriation of funds meant for the victims of the accident. There is evidence that the governor filed a suit and or supported a suit by those implicated in the report of the County Assembly SADC Committee in Kericho ELRC petition number E006 of 2023, Dr. Wesley Bora and 5 others versus the Governor, Kericho County Government and others, and Kericho ELRC petition number E014 of 2023, Victor Tum and others versus the Governor, Kericho County Government and others. Number C is being personally and directly complicit in the flawed award of direct tenders for service providers during the fundraiser and requiem mass of the victims of the accident. Number D, the county governor has in this regard committed numerous and various acts in the course of his duties and are contrary to and in violation of the Constitution and the laws of Kenya. This includes the Roman number 1, the authenticity of various payments made cannot be confirmed, the fact that the exact amount of money expended from the sum collected during the fundraiser points to the impropriety and suggests a clear fraud on those whom the funds were to have been benefited. Roman number 2, a total of Kenya shillings 13,682,660 was collected at the fundraiser. A sum of Kenya shillings 423,000 was purportedly expended as pastors' facilitation fee, transport refund, field preparation, lunches and refreshments, printing, publishing and radio announcements. Other payments that were approved from the fund were Kericho County Referral Hospital, Kenya shillings 2,037,524, Lodiani Hospital, Kenya shillings 1,534,190, Supertix Limited, Kenya shillings 2,945,000, Supershine Limited, Kenya shillings 411,000, Race Hotel, Kenya shillings 100,000, and County Commissioners fuel expenses at Kenya shillings 300,000, etc. Roman number 3, that when Kenyans from all walks of their life voluntarily made contributions to aid the victims of the tragedy, it was never intended or anticipated that the funds will be misappropriated with the blessings of the governor, who had a higher calling to ensure the money is accounted for to the last coin and on whom the people bestowed their trust. Number 4, the governor has issued contradictory statements insofar as the use of the funds is concerned. The contradictory statements point to his being complicit in the matter. Number 5, while the governor is on record indicating that the medical bills for all the victims will be waived and taken care of by the county government, it is not clear why money had to be paid out from the fund collected to various public hospitals against the express and unequivocal representations of the governor. Number E, by his acts of omission and commission, the governor has grossly violated the provision of Article 75 of the Constitution, which demands that a state officer shall, whether in private or in public, behave in a manner that avoids conflict of interest between personal interest and public or official interest, or compromises public interest in favor of personal interest. Number F, by overseeing the misappropriation of funds aimed at assisting the victims of the accident, the governor violated Article 73, subsection 2, which demands from him selfless service based solely on public interest, demonstrated by honesty in the execution of his duties, accountability to the public for decisions and actions, and discipline and commitment in service. Number G, by allowing himself to be a master of double-speak in such a grave matter that shook the conscience of the nation, the governor violated Article 73, 1A, Roman 2, and 3 of the Constitution, which demand that he at all times demonstrate respect to the people and bring honor and dignity to the office he holds. Number H, by allowing himself and senior officials close to him to benefit from the funds, the governor violated Article 76, 2B of the Constitution, which prohibits a state officer from accepting a benefit in circumstances that compromise the integrity of the state officer. And number I, by failing to ensure that decision-making in the executive office of the county governor are not influenced by corruption, nepotism, and other colors and improper motives, the governor has failed to exercise objectivity and impartiality, thus violating Article 73, 2B of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Evidence of the governor's engagement, connivance, and complicity in the acts of misappropriating and or abetting misappropriation of publicly raised funds is to be found in as indicated in page 11 and 3, that is Roman number 1 up to number 3. Charge number B is abuse of office. And a charge abuse of office, there is Roman number 1, illegal appointments, unlawful dismissal and transfers, and usurpation of the constitutional and statutory functions of county public service. The governor has variously, in gross misconduct, 2 gross violations of Article 10, 73, 75, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, 3 gross violation of Section 17 of the Public Officer Act, Section 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act, Section 4 of the Public Appointments, County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, and variously abused his office by A, illegally appointing one Mrs. Alice Bate, now Judge of the High Court, as a county attorney when there was a substantive office holder, an act with the Employment and Labor Relations Court, Honorable Lady Justice Wasilu affirmed was irregular and procedural and unlawful in Sang versus Governor Kericho County and 2 others, petition E001 of 2023. In that case, the governor was found by the court to be in gross violation of Article 73 and 232 of the Constitution. His actions found to be illegal and unconstitutional in order to pay cost of Kenya shillings 2 million and costs personally. The governor has therefore been already adjudged to be in gross violation of the law, and all the Assembly and the Senate are called upon to do is to remove him by impeachment. Number B, causing the advertisement of the positions of doctors, nurses, early childhood education, ECD teachers, just to endear himself politically when he knew the county government did not have capacity to hire. The applicants were subsequently not shortlisted, nor the alleged vacancies are filled up. Number C, illegally deploying health staff by notice dated 22nd July 2024 without any justification of authority and involvement of the county service board, thus creating a crisis in the health sector. And number D, illegally appointing Mr. George Kipngeno Kirer as the Chief Officer for Finance and forwarding his name to the County Assembly for vetting and approval when there was a substantive office holder in the name of Miss Jacqueline Silangat and the vacancy had not arisen. Evidence of the governor's engagement, connivance, and complicity in the foregoing acts of illegal appointments and lawful dismissals and transfers and usurpation of the constitutional and statutory functions of the county organs is to be found in Roman number 1 and number 2 with the exhibits therein. Number 2, there's Roman 2, under abuse of office, is subversion, discrediting and impeding of the oversight role of the County Assembly. 1, on 3rd September 2024, the governor engaged in gross misconduct and grossly violated the provision of Articles 10, 73, 75, 174, and 185(3) of the Constitution, and abused his office by writing to the Speaker, purporting to direct the Speaker on, inter alia, the timelines the Speaker should give the chief officers who are summoned by the Assembly for questioning in exercise of Assembly's oversight mandate. Evidence of the governor's engagement, connivance, and complicity in the foregoing acts of subversion, discrediting, and impeding of the oversight role of the County Assembly is to be found in, as you can see, Roman number 1 and number 2 with the exhibits attached. Charge number C is gross misconduct. Roman number 1, bullying, incitement, vilification, and indecent sexual conduct. 1, on various occasions, the governor has repeatedly engaged in gross misconduct and gross violation of the provision of Article 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution and Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act by A, publicly vilifying the residents of Kericho County with divergent views. A case in point is that Mr. Marwa from Londiani, who while attending an event in Londiani on 4th March 2024, the governor publicly disparaged and demeaned and undermined and even threatened to use the services of the police officer assigned to him to manhandle him. Similarly, on 24th August 2023, the governor, while commissioning a renal unit and a bulk liquid oxygen plant at Kapkatet Sub-County Hospital, the governor openly vilified, slighted, and berated Honorable Amos Birir, MCA Kapkatet Ward, who had not attended the event, describing him as mentally blind and stupid. Number B, further on 15th August 2023, while addressing the press to counter the findings of the ad hoc committee of the County Assembly on Londiani accident, the governor spitefully referred to the members of the said ad hoc committee as the funeral committee. Number C, the governor has been operating with impunity as though he is above the law. On the second day of being sworn in office, the governor led a mob to invade a private land owned by one Mr. Josiah Kiblangat Kogo within Kericho town and tore down the fence. The governor has since designated the subject land as an illegal dump site operated by county governments without the consent of the registered proprietor, National Environment Management Authority, that is NEMA, approval, gazettement by the county, designating the parcel as a dump site, and in total disregard of a court order issued by the Environment and Land Court in Kericho in ELC petition number E001 of 2022, Josiah Kiblangat Kogo versus County Government of Kericho. The governor has also obstructed the enforcement of the orders by the police administration. The actions are illegal, contemptuous to the authority and dignity of the court and the rule of law, unethical and demeaning the office of the governor he holds. Further, as a result of the illegal actions of the governor, the county was condemned to pay the cost. Number D, there are numerous complaints of governors' indecent and unnatural sexual behavior by female partners who accuse the governor of, for instance, forcing them to unconsented anal sex, dangerous and unprotected sex, etc. The victim of the abuse seeks anonymity at this stage, and the move of the motion shall, at the hearing of this motion, seek to have the victim heard in camera to protect her identity and dignity. Further, for the sake of concealing her identity, the victim will be identified in a pseudonym. Number E, the governor has persistently intimidated, molested, harassed county officers who do not sing to his tune, leaving officers jittery and creating an atmosphere of fear, uncertainty, and despondency in the county, and thus creating a toxic working environment. This violates provision of Section 11 and 13 of the Leadership and Integrity Act of 2012. Number F, the governor has persistently used divisive and unbecoming language which undermines the office he holds contrary to Section 8 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012. And G, the governor has violated Article 75(1) of the Constitution by drawing hefty allowances under salary while failing to diligently report to work, to the huge detriment of the discharge of his mandate as a governor and the performance of his functions. And H, the acts of the governor enumerated above have collectively brought dishonor and disrepute in the office of the governor in violation of Chapter 6 of the Constitution and the Leadership and Integrity Act of 2012. Evidence of the governor's engagement, connivance, and complicity in the preceding acts of incitement, vilification, and indecent sexual conduct is to be found in evidence that is from number 1, that's Roman 1 to Roman 3, which is also attached. Honorable members, having read the motion in verbatim, before we begin the debate on the motion that is now before the House, it is fundamental principle in law that an accused person has the right to be heard and to face his or her accusers on the allegations before them. Indeed, this is the essence of Article 47 and Article 50 of our Constitution. To this end, I will now invite His Excellency the Governor of Kericho County, whether by himself or by council, to take the floor and makes his submissions to the grounds and particulars of the motion before this Honorable Assembly for a period not exceeding 2 hours. And as we all know, that we have Katwa Kigen and your colleague, so you have a period not exceeding 2 hours. But just to remind you that this is a house of rules and procedures, and therefore we expect you more so, because having gone through your submissions that you submitted, to look at our standing orders number 97, so that it will guide you more so if you want to discuss the conduct of the governor or the speaker or any other person whose removal from such office is dependent upon the decision of this assembly. Please be guided, Council Katwa Kigen. And therefore, you have 2 hours. And what is the time? Clock? What? 11:20. Okay. So, hello, Council Kigen, you can proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, may I start by saying thank you very much for the courtesy and the invite. We very much appreciate, most especially, and to you specifically, the courtesy you have shown us. Secondly, may I, by way of starting, introduce both myself and my colleague. My name is Katwa Kigen. I represent the governor, together with my learned colleague, Mr. Manasseh Tunen. Thirdly, I want to extend a word of appreciation to you, Honorable MCAs, for the courtesy of allowing us in here. And I would also like to say that if I say anything in the defense of His Excellency, it is specifically and solely out of my instructions or rather our instructions to defend His Excellency. It has nothing to do with the respect we have for you. And may I just emphasize that we have the highest possible respect for you as MCAs and as the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when you introduced the issue, you put the issue of whether the Speaker will be in attendance and whether he's foregoing his option to represent himself.
Sorry, that's the governor?
Sorry, Governor, Sir Governor, Mr. Speaker. I confirm that the governor was on his way here and would have arrived by now, but when he was on his way, he was given notice that there was an order stopping the proceedings, these proceedings. And in the face of the existence of that order, he went back. However, he still in line with the point that he's not foregoing his right to defend himself. Mr. Speaker, sir, you have already adverted to the fact that we filed his statement and defense and his documents dated 30th September 2024. It is our position, therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, that in the face of the order, this proceeding should be halted. However, if at the end of the court proceedings and at the end of the judge decides that this matter should come back here, we will be relying on that statement and we will not be foregoing his right to defend himself. Mr. Speaker, sir, may I also just go on record as acknowledging the observations you made at the start of these proceedings, being that you are in receipt of a letter from 16 MCAs, and the effect of which is that out of the 47 MCAs that this honorable plenary ordinarily hosts, there would be only 31 members then, and unless one more walks in, the people, even if the motion were to be discussed, the only number of people who would then be engaging in discussing would be 31. Honorable MCAs, we have, speaking for the governor, we have not lost faith in you. We are still expecting that one of the 34, one or more of you in the 31 that are here will oppose the motion. I just want to be cautious so that it doesn't seem like I'm saying the 31 that are here against the governor. I just want to say that I know there are 31 here, and even if it were 100%, it would not master the 2/3 count unless one more walks in. And as a rider, we are still counting on you to disallow the motion. I appreciate from the mover and the seconder that most likely they will vote, and probably then there will be 29 against the two of them. Mr. Speaker, sir, having then done that introduction, I just want then to emphatically place on record our situation on behalf of the governor, being that there is an order made by the court this 2nd day of October. The hard copy of that order has been served on the assembly and on the office of the clerk. The soft copy has also been served by email. And out of caution, because we don't know how, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate that you honorable members of the county assembly, by reason that probably you had sat before that order was brought to your attention, might not know the contents. And so I just want to say something about its contents. The first one is that it is an order that was issued this morning, 2nd of October 2024. The order in very specific terms suspends, and I'm using the words used in the order, suspends and stays, it suspends and stays, debating, considering, and acting on the notice the notice tabled on the 23rd of September 2024, and the motion moved on 24th September 2024 and today. So it suspends and stays, debating, considering, and acting on it. Multiple times the Speaker has pointed out to you, honorable members, that this is a court of record. And then, therefore, there is a certain disadvantage you have as opposed to other people. Because if in the face of the fact that an order has been brought to your attention, you proceed, then it should be possible to pinpoint who it is that violated the order. I'm saying that again with the greatest respect. May I also say that the respondents in that petition are, number 1, the County Assembly, number 2, the Speaker of the County Assembly, and number 3, and allow me, the mover of the motion, Honorable Rogoni, is the 3rd respondent. We didn't know that you have your friend seconding it. We would have also added him in the petition. Okay. Probably two last things, Mr. Speaker, then I ask for your directions in the face of the order. The first one, Mr. Speaker, is that just to say something more about the order has been granted against the background of our argument, and probably I'll just highlight three of them. The first one, Mr. Speaker, and again I said I am doing this with the greatest respect to everybody here, the greatest possible respect. The first one, Mr. Speaker, is that we have taken issue with you presiding over these proceedings. We have taken the position that you are biased against the governor.
Which the council,
yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Please be guided by standing order number 97. As I told you, you are free to say that, but not in this house, because of our standing orders are very clear, unless there's a substantive motion to discuss the conduct of the speaker. For today, let me remind you, we have a substantive motion for the removal of the governor. But nevertheless, you are free to discuss it elsewhere, but not today in this sitting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I can see that point is very popular with the MCAs. I wasn't discussing it so much to put you on issue, Mr. Speaker. I was pointing it out more for the benefit of the MCAs to appreciate the issues that have been raised in court. And so it's not so much that I'm asking that your character or your person be an issue. I'm just saying the basis or the issues we took to court and upon which we persuaded the court to give us the orders. Mr. Speaker, sir, you will also notice that that is an issue we've raised also in our defense dated 30th September 2024. In the face of the fact, Mr. Speaker, sir, that I have pointed out to you that I am highlighting it in the context of what is in court. I don't know whether you still are opposed to my...
Order,
yes, yes.
You know, the court order purported that you are speaking about is the one that I haven't received, or before we started this session. By that time, we had not received, and we are being told actually your people or your agents delivered them at 10:24 a.m. And therefore, remember, as I said earlier, that is the schedule. There is the House Business Committee that schedules all these things. By the time we schedule this business and commence at the sitting, this has not been brought to our attention, and therefore we cannot be able to continue discussing about the court order. And now I throw back the ball to you. You have a choice to continue with the defense of the governor, or you stick by the court order that you have alluded that it is there, which from where I sit, we haven't received and admitted it to be discussed or to be part of the proceedings. Let it be on record, so that let it be on record as a house. So, council, you have two choices: either to proceed with the defense of the governor, or you stick with the court of that there is existence of court order that you have. It has been delivered, as you put it, by choice. Is it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes. May I say, there is of course the third choice of how I will use the 2 hours you've given me. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the grounds for seeking the impeachment of His Excellency the Governor is that he is liable for doublespeak. We contested that, and we have shown why our position is that it is not true. But I'm not saying it so much because of His Excellency the Governor. I'm saying it more for you, your Honorable Speaker. You are on one hand saying we have not received the order, but I can see you already are reading from the order and saying it was served at 10. And so it cannot be correct to say that the record should show that you are not aware of the order or that you have not been given. I have also, because probably the camera will not be part of the record, but at least my audio will be part of the record. I have seen, and I just want to be on record also as saying this, that the clerk has shown you the order. And so if we are to proceed, we will be proceeding against the background that you, Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, have received the order, but you are electing to disregard it to the extent to which it asks you to suspend, stay, debate, consideration, and acting on the motion tabled on 23rd and moved on 24th. Two other issues, my I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. Yes, two other issues I just must say, in view of the space that I have in my 2 hours, is to say, Mr. Speaker, apart from the fact that we took to court our contest, that if we must proceed with this debate, we must have somebody else as a speaker as opposed to yourself, on account of material showing you are compromised by money and that you are also a complainer in this case. Apart from that, we've also raised the issue of sub judice, that Mr. Speaker, sir, your Rule 99, Standing Order Standing Order number 97, Standing Order 99,
okay,
2A and D require that you should not discuss matters that are in court that are sub judice. Yes, Mr. Speaker.
I can't.
Sorry. Yes, sir.
I just want us to go back to the matter of choice. And you've got two options. As I have indicated to you, that as far as I'm aware, you have just raised the matter of that there is a court order. There is a process of receiving court orders. You know very well. You are the legal. You are one of the learned friends.
Yes,
and
yes, Mr. Speaker. I'm aware that if you disobey it, you'll be in contempt.
Yes, by mere of just coming here and saying that you have already been served, and you know very well that there's a process of serving orders, you may be misleading this House, by extension, the members of the public. And I want to give direction that Council proceed with the defense of your client, that is Excellency the Governor, and let us not discuss on the matter of the court order that you have already informed us. I have been courteous enough that you informed us in the midst of the debate. So kindly proceed with the...
Okay, I will
and also let me remind you on, again, Standing Order number 997 for the last time, that let us not again allow, I will not allow you to discuss the conduct of the Speaker unless there is a substantive motion, which you know very well it is not there. Your comments, listening keenly to your comments, you keep on referring to the conduct of the Speaker. And I'm sorry that you are out of order, Council. So please stick to defense of the Governor. If you feel, if you take that choice. Secondly, if you want to stand with what you are saying, as I've mentioned earlier, that there is a court order, and you feel that you are not going to continue because there is a court order, you have an option 2. And I guess that option 2 will mean probably you may have to take your seat and we proceed with the motion. So you stand guided, because
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand guided. I will no longer discuss you other than what I have said, but I'm sure even Honorable Rogon can see that indeed you have the order in front of you. You have it right there. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir,
lawyer, yes, please take your seat.
Mr. Speaker, the Council has continued to mislead this House. I haven't seen any order. It just said that I'm part of those who've been served. But I do not have any document records. And so the Council ought to substantiate. Or if he can't, he should withdraw and apologize.
Yes, Council and honorable members, I had pronounced myself on that matter. However, there was a point of order by Honorable Ogwan, because I think that you alluded that he has received the court order that you are talking about. Maybe, and he has requested that perhaps, and he has informed you that he hasn't received one. So probably I'll just maybe give you a minute so that we can clear on that and proceed. But nevertheless, I have already given direction on the matter regarding court order that you have alluded that we have been served. Proceed.
Honorable Ogony, you have asked me to either substantiate or withdraw. I intend to withdraw. But ahead of withdrawing, I don't remember saying Honorable Ogony has been served with the order. I have said it is the Speaker and the Assembly that has been served. If you misunderstood me to be saying that you've been served, because my supposition is that you've been here all this time, and so probably you haven't been physically served.
Order, you, Council,
yes.
Just to remind you,
yes.
You did mention that the order has been served to the mover also.
No, I didn't say that. I said he's one of the respondents, Mr. Speaker.
Or is
the only person who has been served.
Or is it the aspect of mastering the double speak that we had alluded in the beginning? Anyway, proceed with the defense. Let's proceed to the matter.
On the double speak, Mr. Speaker, sir, I don't mind the stones you're throwing at me. I can live with them. So, Honorable Ogony, if you understood me to be saying that you have been physically served, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the Speaker has been served. I just want to be very emphatic about that.
Which I have also confirmed that I have not received any order.
And which I'm confirming that even as we speak, it is on the left-hand side of your, right-hand side of where you're seated, and the clerk has given you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, as you can proceed.
And if you'd rather, I can walk over to your table and show you the order, Mr. Speaker. Okay, with that, then, Mr. Council, Speaker, sir, I can move on. I can move on. Sorry.
Order. Please take your seat. Order. Just take your seat. Council, you know, I appreciate the fact that we have two representatives representing the governor, which we have admitted to this house, and you should follow our standing orders. I expect that, of course, being learned friends of the council, you here to do the right thing and do it accordingly with procedure, not to engage in a manner in which, in one way or another, it's kind of you are disregarding or completely ignoring the directions from the Speaker. I give you the last chance so that you proceed, because we don't want to be, we wanted really to be very fair so that you can defend your clients. But let us avoid the issue of exchanging or challenging even the pronunciations by the chair himself. So proceed, the chair, council.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I will conform to your directions. I just want to say that when the court eventually determines this issue, we will be proceeding with our defense in line with the filing we did on 30th of September 2024. And in that filing, Mr. Speaker, sir, just to pick out a number of things, sensational things that have been flagged out by Honorable Ogony and the second of the motion, we will be Honorable Ogony flagged out the point that one Mr. Kirer replaced Jacqueline in circumstances of impropriety, and we wish the governor could produce some documents. We confirm that indeed we have documents showing the Office of Chief Officer Finance was vacant, and therefore it is untrue to say that it had been filled. Number two, that it was Public Service Board that advertised. It is this county assembly to which that motion was brought for the appointment of Kirer, and if there is any fault, if there is anybody to be impeached, it is probably Honorable Ogony, who was sitting in the committee vetting the subcommittee for this assembly, vetting Mr. Kirer and recommending to the governor the appointment.
On that matter and any other matters that are coming up on your defense, I hope and believe that the documents that you are referring to, all of them have been attached in your submissions that submitted by the
They have, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Just
and again, I'm emphasizing
of record, yeah.
that unlike you, we do not want to be in contempt of the court order. We will come back after the court has pronounced itself. On the issue of sex excesses and improprieties, we have filed a notice objecting to the material supplied to us out of time, and we've not had time to respond to them. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you will, if the court decides that these proceedings proceed, and if you like time, we will respond to that.
Sorry, Counsel, you are moving so fast. You said in the matter of supplement.
Objecting to the late service.
The notice have been, you have delivered here?
Yes, yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
So, Clerk, you need to confirm, when was it delivered?
We've raised
just hold on.
After we had filed our defense and having then had some latitude of time to look at it, we had a cursory look at it. And it is our view that on the face of what was contained in that supplementary evidence, the person Honorable Ogony should have been targeting for impeachment is the driver of the governor, because the exchange was between the driver of the governor and the lady Honorable Ogony has chosen to call Kericho daughter. And so when we come back after the court's decision, we will be making our arguments along those lines. With all that said, then, Mr. Speaker, sir, I will request that you allow my colleague to say something, but our general position is that until the application has been determined, we do not intend to proceed with the discussions and deliberations on the impeachment, because then it would be in contempt of court, and we do not want to similarly be in contempt. And as my colleague comes to say something, I just want to say that again, the governor was on his way, but in view of the order, he chose not to come, because then there was no necessity of going on with the case. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Honorable Governor did not expect that there was a likelihood of you disobeying the court order, and that's why he didn't come. Honorable Ogony said that His Excellency the Governor is a cruel person. I suspect I haven't been with the Governor for as long time as Honorable Ogony has been with him, but with what I know, he is definitely not cruel, and we want to be on record as contesting that allegation that the Governor is cruel. And lastly, that when we come back to respond to this, we will, Mr. Speaker, sir, I know you stopped Honorable Ogony when he was qualifying what he was saying, when he said, His Excellency said one of the learned MCAs here is stupid. He qualified by saying he did not use those words, he used a different set of words in a different language. We will be saying those words do not mean stupid, and that the Honorable His Excellency did not use the word stupid. Lastly, and I have the greatest respect to Honorable Birir, I don't know him, the comment made by His Excellency saying that some people are politically blind did not refer specifically to any specific person, including Honorable Birir. And if Honorable Birir has taken offense because of this complaint brought by Honorable Ogony, the person he should be offended at is Honorable Ogony, not His Excellency the Governor, because that's not the person who made that comment. But we must say also, and I suspect Honorable Ogony has said this, that making the statement that somebody is politically blind is a fair political comment. It's something any of you would say in your political forum. It is not an abuse to say somebody is politically blind. With all that, then, Mr. Speaker, sir, I very kindly request that my colleague say something briefly, and with that, we will not proceed on our part with the proceedings. We will be seeking to cite everybody who says anything about this issue in the face of the order, and we plead with you that the same way the Speaker is insisting and emphasizing that we respect the standing orders, we respect the rules, the same way we do respect the fact that there is a court order. I am addressing the MCAs, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Order, but only through the, you can only
through the Speaker. Please may I say thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And again, Mr. Speaker, I hope you don't take it personal. Again, I have the greatest respect for you.
It is okay.
And if I have said anything, it is out of the need to defend my client.
Right.
The same to Honorable Robert.
Just, of course, having just order first, Council, before you take the seat. You know, the comments or the observation by, I want to believe you are the lead counsel, Katwa Keegan, on this matter, and you have pronounced yourself really that you don't intend to continue with this matter because of the court order. So honestly, I don't see the reason why then we should give to your colleague, and you have already pronounced yourself, because that is from your own observation, and therefore I guess you have already summarized, unless you wanted your colleague just to say his name, and because you have made it very clear that you don't intend to.
Mr. Speaker, sir, are you withdrawing my 2 hours?
Of course, based on you've saying that you don't.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, sir, could you then allow my colleague just to say something? He probably has a different view. Probably wants to proceed with the defense. Let's hear what he has to say, please. Just for a minute.
Okay. Proceed, the council.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, members of the County Assembly. As introduced by my learned senior Katwa Keegan, my name is Manasseh Tunen, in the team representing the governor. I would associate myself with the submissions made by my learned senior, Mr. Katwa Keegan, and our point or stand is that we respect the court order, and we will not be proceeding. And then when and if the court decides that this House should proceed to discuss the motion, then there's only one issue that I think my learned senior forgot to mention that we will be objecting to, and that is the manner in which the alluded or the alleged witness is going to present her testimony. It has been indicated that it will be through pseudonyms, it will be in camera, and up to now, as the evidence suggests, we are not aware, or the public or whoever is not aware of who that person is. So if that is to stand, we will be requiring or requesting or demanding that such persons be identified by their name, be identified by their face, and they should be availed before you if the court is of the opinion that this motion should proceed. And Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission, and this is not to say that we are proceeding with the motion, if we feel like we want to proceed through the motion, we kindly request that you allow us to proceed and, I mean, observe what happens in the House if, of course, Mr. Speaker, you choose to proceed with deliberating on the motion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council. You said Manas, Tunei. You said.
Maybe I should make that clear. Tunen, T-U-N-E-N, Kiplagat Manasseh. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Council Tunen, Council Katwa Keegan. Now that you have pronounced yourself on the very matter, that you are not willing to proceed because of the matter of the court order that you have mentioned that is before us,
I don't, of course, have anything else to say, but really to appreciate you being here, having taken your time. You have made your submissions, and as an assembly, we were very honored and pleased to have you and interacted with and to interact with you, and therefore, all the members, I think, in the best interest of and respect that we give the side of His Excellency the Governor, more so the legal team that are here. I think it will be in order that we release you because you are not part of the proceedings from now. And Sergeant Adams, please, Katwa Kigan, and so we hope to meet soon as you have made your submissions, and we are happy to have you again in the future. Thank you so much. Sergeant Adams, ensure that the legal counsels are served with a cup of tea at the office of the clerk, and if there is lunch, you can also provide lunch at the two legal counsels. Thank you so much for your time and your submissions. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, although we suspect you are punishing us for raising the objections.
You are out of order, Captain. We will always, the Honorable Clerk, I think next time we need to induct our visitors on our standing orders so that we avoid these side shows. Nevertheless, we will proceed with the motion. Honorable members, of course, you have heard the submissions by the legal counsels representing the governor, and we now proceed. Now the debate is now the motion is open for debates and contribute.
With my contributions of supporting the same motion, Mr. Speaker, that is before. With my contributions of supporting the same motion, Mr. Speaker, that is before the floor of the House today, Mr. Speaker. Allow me, Mr. Speaker, to refer to the standing order number. Allow me, Mr. Speaker, to refer to the standing order on the issue. To the standing order on the issue of quorum, Mr. Speaker. If you can give me 1 minute, Mr. Speaker.
That is in order.
It is the standing order number 37, Mr. Speaker, and I want to read, Mr. Speaker, out of curiosity, Mr. Speaker, and based on what the council wanted actually to raise, Mr. Speaker, and based on the communication that you made earlier, Mr. Speaker, on my fellow colleagues who actually, Mr. Speaker, send signed documents before you, Mr. Speaker. Number 7.1, Mr. Speaker, said a quorum of the assembly or of a committee of the whole assembly shall be a third of its members, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the tradition of this House, Mr. Speaker, a third of this House, Mr. Speaker, if you calculate, Mr. Speaker, it should be around 15 point something, Mr. Speaker, 15.66, Mr. Speaker. And for the purpose of records, Mr. Speaker, we've been operating under the quorum of 16, Mr. Speaker, because it is a simple mathematics, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know my background very well, Mr. Speaker, having studied for a very long time electronics engineering, Mr. Speaker. I have also done instrumentation and control engineering, Mr. Speaker, which entails a lot of mathematics, Mr. Speaker. But if I may refer my colleagues that are outside this county assembly, Mr. Speaker, to the engineering mathematics book one, Mr. Speaker, by A.K. Stroud, Mr. Speaker. They say in decimals, Mr. Speaker, when you are rounding off to a whole figure, Mr. Speaker, if it is above 0.5, Mr. Speaker, 0.5, then you round off ahead of the number, Mr. Speaker. And if it is less than that one, Mr. Speaker, you round down, Mr. Speaker. And that's the reason we normally run our quorum by 16, Mr. Speaker. That means a third of this county assembly. And when we want to find the 2/3 of this county assembly, Mr. Speaker, you just say the 47 members of the county assembly, you less their third, which is 16, Mr. Speaker, and you get 31 automatic, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I can say we are well. We want to proceed, Mr. Speaker. And the same, Mr. Speaker, I wish the council would have been here, Mr. Speaker. I know they studied law. I studied a lot of mathematics, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, during my KCAC, I was the third in the whole Kericho County. That was Kericho District, a third time, Mr. Speaker. So they should not even doubt, Mr. Speaker. They should refer me as the dictionary of mathematics in that case, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the second thing, Mr. Speaker, I know our colleagues, and as the leader of this house, Mr. Speaker, as one of the leader in this house, Mr. Speaker, I have seen through my mobile phone, Mr. Speaker, our 16 members of the county assembly, Mr. Speaker, are following us live, Mr. Speaker, just like other citizens of Kericho County who doesn't have the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to appear before the house and maybe argue their issues out, Mr. Speaker. I pity one honorable member, Mr. Speaker, who raised a very serious statement that informed the house to do or to form a committee on ad hoc to investigate the Kasi Mutai, that is the disrupt equalizer program, Mr. Speaker, that found, the committee found around 23 million, Mr. Speaker, that these people could not account for, Mr. Speaker. And while the member was given the opportunity to give his sentiments before the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker, he recommends that several people or persons in the executive should be impeached, Mr. Speaker. And we are here today courtesy of the same, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me, as I support the motion, Mr. Speaker, I want to start with the issue of revenues, Mr. Speaker, because
yes, leader,
if I will be asked,
the majority, before you proceed with that, proceed with the other matter of extending time that you had reached. Because
thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I know we are caught on by time, Mr. Speaker, and maybe that is what I was saying, Mr. Speaker, before I proceed with my contribution of supporting the motion, Mr. Speaker. You allow me to introduce a motion of the extension of time, Mr. Speaker, because the standing orders of the county assembly that is we are bound by, Mr. Speaker, allows the first session to end at 12:30 p.m., Mr. Speaker. And based on this, Mr. Speaker, and the weight of the matter that is before the House, Mr. Speaker, we need to extend the time, Mr. Speaker. And I therefore move a motion to extend the time until such a time that will conclude the matter that is before the Assembly, Mr. Speaker. And I kindly invite Honorable Moses Rotich, MCA, Tendeno Soget, Mr. Speaker, to second.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Considering the weighty matter that is before us, Mr. Speaker, or matter of county importance, Mr. Speaker, and Kenya at large, I stand to second the motion. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you, the Honorable Moses Rotich, for the motion, for seconding the motion of extension of sitting time of the Assembly, which is in line with our standing orders. Those are motions which may be moved without notice. And I'll propose the question, of course, and I propose a question that this House extend the sitting, that is morning sitting, until the conclusion of the debate that is, or the motion that is before us. Yes. Silent means I call the mover of the motion, leader majority, to reply before I put the question on extension of time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity, and thank you very much, honorable members, for allowing me to move the same motion of the extension of time because of the weight matter that is before the House. Thank you very much.
Okay. I now rise to put a question that this House extend the sitting time until the conclusion of this motion. Will as many as are of similar opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? And the ayes have it. The leader of majority, now you can proceed with your contribution on the substantive motion itself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity once again. Mr. Speaker, before I mention, or before I proceed, Mr. Speaker, let it be in record, Mr. Speaker, that personally and other members chaired by the Speaker, we sat in the House Business Committee that schedules the works or the business that is to be transacted by the House, Mr. Speaker. We sat at exactly around 7:30 a.m. in the morning, Mr. Speaker, and we did schedule the business that is before the House today, Mr. Speaker, for discussion and deliberations, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, number two is that, Mr. Speaker, according to the standing orders of this House, Mr. Speaker, the first session starts at 9:30 a.m. in the morning, Mr. Speaker, and it should end at 12:30 p.m., Mr. Speaker, not unless with the exception like for today, Mr. Speaker, when we have a lot of business is when we have to extend time by moving a motion and adopted by the House for the same discussion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the councils that appeared before the House, Mr. Speaker, led by Katwa Kigen, Mr. Speaker, they came here knowing, Mr. Speaker, that they are coming to defend His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Speaker. And I'm very sure that they came here knowing that there is no order, Mr. Speaker, that on the way, Mr. Speaker, they wanted to introduce the same, Mr. Speaker. You know the law. Once the session started, Mr. Speaker, there is no way, this is a special motion, there is no way we could terminate this, Mr. Speaker, and I beg that we proceed with the same, Mr. Speaker, until its conclusion, Mr. Speaker. That is my observations, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in supporting the same motion that is before the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker, I want to start with the issue of revenue, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for our people back at home who entrusted us with the responsibility of representing, Mr. Speaker, legislating on their behalf, Mr. Speaker, and oversighting the executive on behalf of them, Mr. Speaker, mandated us to do, or the Constitution mandates us to do the three roles, Mr. Speaker. That is oversight, legislation, and representation, Mr. Speaker. And when we see misappropriation, Mr. Speaker, and things done away from the law, Mr. Speaker, is when we need to raise the red flag, Mr. Speaker, and inform the public that something is not doing good, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I happened to have worked for Safaricom Limited, Mr. Speaker, where they encourage cashless transactions, Mr. Speaker, and that because this is against the law, Mr. Speaker. When a contractor wins a tender, Mr. Speaker, they needed to have given that person or that company the same rules, Mr. Speaker, to collect for us the money, Mr. Speaker, in terms of revenue. The county government, if we are to progress, we must have the revenue system back, Mr. Speaker. But failure by the executive to provide the same 11 months down the line, Mr. Speaker, seems or means they don't want this system in place, Mr. Speaker, because they want to loot the money that belongs to the people, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I come from the farthest ward of this Kericho County, Mr. Speaker. When accessing medical services, Mr. Speaker, I need to come if somebody gets an injury or broken hand or everything, Mr. Speaker. We need to come back all the way to Kericho County, Mr. Speaker. I was overseeing, or I was seeing that if we could have proceeded in the right way, Mr. Speaker, we need to have even installed the X-ray systems and machines in the sub-county hospitals that we are coming from, Mr. Speaker. But because of the theft in the county government, Mr. Speaker, of these issues to do with revenue, Mr. Speaker, you see, we are still there, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the county referral hospital, all the roofs, Mr. Speaker, at the maternity wings, Mr. Speaker, are leaking. People are sharing beds, Mr. Speaker, in the same referral hospital at our time, Mr. Speaker. You can imagine, Mr. Speaker, for this to end, we must execute this impeachment like yesterday, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this county assembly has passed several laws, Mr. Speaker, and it has been enacted by the county governor, Mr. Speaker. You see, when we pass appeal here, Mr. Speaker, after it has been extended by the governor, Mr. Speaker, it becomes an act which the governor is bound to operate within the same act, Mr. Speaker. This county assembly, Honorable House, Mr. Speaker, passed a valuation rule, Mr. Speaker, in the year 2019. Before its finality was, Mr. Speaker, executed, we entered into this election, Mr. Speaker. After coming up, Mr. Speaker, coming back in 2022, we expected that the county government will use the new valuation rule that only lands department was found maybe to collect close to 1.2 billion, Mr. Speaker, as revenue, Mr. Speaker, from land rates and other things, Mr. Speaker. But to date, Mr. Speaker, you can see the total collection as per the control of budget reports, and for the Auditor General's report, Mr. Speaker, we collected only 359 million. That is inclusive of those other revenue streams, Mr. Speaker. To me, for this county to progress, Mr. Speaker, His Excellency Dr. Erick Mutai, Mr. Speaker, should be impeached, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to talk much of the honorable members of this House, Mr. Speaker. It's uncalled for a state officer of the caliber of His Excellency the Governor to call my colleague that is mentally stupid, that people ought not to have elected such a person, Mr. Speaker, that is acting as the MC of Kapkatet at the same time working as a governor, Mr. Speaker. That one, Mr. Speaker, is degradation of the rights of an honorable member and a human being, Mr. Speaker. The same thing, Mr. Speaker, as I finalize, I was in the special committee, or rather committee on Londiani accident, Mr. Speaker. I felt so bad, Mr. Speaker, when the governor referred to us as a funeral committee, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I have sat in committees in my rural home as a funeral committee, but for that case, Mr. Speaker, I sat as an honorable member in a committee, special committee formed to investigate the same issues of Londiani issues, Mr. Speaker. We recommend to His Excellency the Governor that people that was involved in the same theft, Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker, you see the way we lost money. I'm one of the person I went maybe to Nakuru BGH Hospital, Mr. Speaker, and Honorable Excellency Susan Kericho, Mr. Speaker, pronounced herself that no bill of the same, because of the magnitude of that incident, Mr. Speaker, she waived at the BGH Hospital, Mr. Speaker. Coming to our own county, Mr. Speaker, the governor himself pronounced himself, and eventually, Mr. Speaker, they went ahead and billed 2,037,524 for Kericho County Referral Hospital, Mr. Speaker. At the same time, 1,534,190 for Londiani Sub-County Hospital, Mr. Speaker. This one came to a total of over 4 million, Mr. Speaker. And we have the evidence of the checks from the same account, Mr. Speaker. It was so painful. We saw people who got injured, Mr. Speaker. I know of many who still to date, Mr. Speaker, doesn't have legs. Though the same people came and sourced money from other accounts of this county government after the staff of the county executive had exploited the same, Mr. Speaker, from the people. Mr. Speaker, for all this to progress, Mr. Speaker, you've had the report, Mr. Speaker. And when we were in primary, there was a book called Primary Science. I think it was standard 6 to 7, Mr. Speaker. There was what we called the food web, Mr. Speaker. And they used to say, in the food web, Mr. Speaker, they were saying, the pointer points to the eater, Mr. Speaker. I end my quote, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The Honorable Chief Food, the Honorable Rotich.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand here to support the motion for the impeachment of Excellency Dr. Erick Mutai. Mr. Speaker, I can recall very well that in the year 2022, somewhere September 9th, Mr. Speaker, I took a Bible to swear clearly that I will take the responsibility of this county seriously and to prevent anything that can actually hinder progress of our county. Mr. Speaker, I want to start very well that the move of the motion has put it very clear that there has been a lot of failures or actually interference causing to loss of several funds. Mr. Speaker, number one, I want to start by bringing to attention of our members that Kericho County Violation Rule, Mr. Speaker, Act 2019, which I participated very well, Mr. Speaker, and this violation rule, Mr. Speaker, ought to have given us 1.2 million. I want to say there has been a lot of money that has been collected, Mr. Speaker, and nothing has been forthcoming to our county. Precisely, Mr. Speaker, that in the collection of our money, Mr. Speaker, I undertook myself personally as an MCA representing the people of Seretut, Mr. Speaker. I want to state that very clearly. I undertook an exercise personally because there has been a lot of privileges of our county funds. Mr. Speaker, I one day took a gumboot, I took my jacket, I wore a cape, I went to Kapkelek market, Mr. Speaker, just to ascertain whether there has been privileges in Kapkelek. Mr. Speaker, I want to put this one on record, that I personally, Kapkelek market has been collecting or there has been remitting 2,000 shillings every Sunday, but they are collecting more than that, Mr. Speaker. The reason why I want to stand to be counted, and I'll remain very firm, Mr. Speaker, is to support that there should be no privileges in our county. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that that day, when I went there at about 11 a.m., Mr. Speaker, with the assistance of our county director, which was present, Mr. Speaker, the county revenue officers, Mr. Speaker, and my own young thugs, Mr. Speaker, because we wanted to know probably what are these ways that we have always been using the funds, Mr. Speaker, are ascertained, and I want to confirm very clearly that exactly when I appeared there at 11 a.m., I stayed there up to 3 p.m. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm before everybody and the media that, Mr. Speaker, at 3 p.m. we had collected That is an example which I affirmed myself. And we can confirm by downloading M-Pesa statements there in the revenue that we collected 22,000 and something on top. But they have been remitting 2,000 shillings. Mr. Speaker, I cannot sit down and watch our the funds that are supposed to come back later and assist us build the roads, give us the medicine, assist our people build the dispensaries, build tea buying centers, and everything that is going to be that is of good importance to our people. Mr. Speaker, I want to be counted, and I will stand very firm that at no point will I watch our money being misused, being eaten, being taken away while there are no medicine in our hospitals. Mr. Speaker, I am very serious with this, and I will not take any minute in backtracking what I've said. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I want also to quote that the other day we received a report from the Controller of Budget, that is 2023. Mr. Speaker, I want to bring to attention of members that when we received the report from Controller of Budget, it says that Kabianga Tea Farm, that is over 400 acres of tea. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, the money that we are supposed to be receiving as a county was not even reported. So definitely zero returns. So, Mr. Speaker, this is very serious. How can the 400 acres of tea not even produce even a shilling? Which world are we? Mr. Speaker, we have tea. I have 2 acres of tea in my home, and I get a lot of money. How can the 400 acres of tea not even give us even a line item? You can imagine, Mr. Speaker, I was surprised that in the report, Kabianga Tea Farm, even the line item itself was not even given out. It is very shameful, Mr. Speaker. It wasn't captured. So where is the money for Kabianga Tea Farm? Mr. Speaker, we need to call a spade, but not a bush moon. That one I'll stand very firm. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that among the people that generated the evaluation drone, it is called Kericho County Rating Act of 2019. We sat here, I was among the members who sat in the last committee, in the last parliament. And I can confirm very clearly, and it's very, I'm very lucky that, Mr. Speaker, I'm the only one who came back for the members who were there, that parliament. I want to confirm that when we sat, we prepared a comprehensive document that actually would have given this county over 1.2 billion. If we just sit down and watch what we call, there's nothing that has been enacted, has been it's been existence, so not implementation. Mr. Speaker, if we are going to see like this and see nothing being implemented, then we are losing a lot of money. You can imagine, Mr. Speaker, if I can remember very well, like for the case of Homa Bay. Mr. Speaker, it's good to tell our people very clearly. Homa Bay doesn't grow tea. They can only do what we call fishing. That is in the lake. But, Mr. Speaker, they are collecting over 1 billion. As in Kericho, we have tea, we have factories, we have coffee, we have lands, plots. Mr. Speaker, I think it's high time that we tell ourselves the naked truth. How can we be getting 359 million? How on this earth? When we have everything. Factories here, we have steel factory, we have cement factory, we have several tea factories, Mr. Speaker. We are not collecting. There are a lot of vehicles that are applying everywhere, collecting teas across the county. But we are not getting the value for money. Where is this money that they are saying they are collecting? Lastly, Mr. Speaker, what pains me a lot was swapping the swaps. They have been swapping these the single business permits. How can you swap a single business permit? The other day, Mr. Speaker, as I was walking, taking tea somewhere in town here, I just saw somewhere hanged a single business permit, Mr. Speaker, that reads Kericho East, while Kericho East ends at Blue, but it is here in this town. I have to that effect, and I can produce very well. How can it end here, Mr. Speaker? These people are trying to swap. Our Kericho, within the radius of Kericho town, usually stands under category A. So it's good to be very honest. And there stands at category C. So they are taking money from the traders here so so at least you see that they can swap and give them the cheaper, then of course pocket other money. So that one is not acceptable. And that is what we call gross theft, a clear theft, Mr. Speaker. I have it. I took a picture of the same and I can produce. So definitely we need to be serious. I want to request that, Mr. Speaker, as I end, that the money for Kabianga, I want to tell you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to stand very firm with my people and the people of Kericho at large, that the money from Kabianga Tea Farm must be given or must be put on the table. What was the problem hiding? Why are they hiding? Control of budget, the line item exists. Yes. Mr. Speaker, there is a serious theft in our county and must be fixed. And those people who can fix this issue are the honorable MCAs. That one must be very clear. It is high time that we stand very firm and to be counted. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to end by saying that I want to applaud the members, over 31 members who are present today, to make sure that we sanitize our county and make it great once again. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, okay, I can see a lot of hands. The Honorable Cheriot Bed first because of he's a ranking member, and then I'll give leadership to the Honorable Fancy after. I've seen the hand of Honorable Gilbert, Honorable Erick B. In that order, Honorable Cheriot Bed, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity, and of course, by extension, Mr. Speaker, the people of Ainamoi who have stood by my side, Mr. Speaker, and that is why I am in this county assembly. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, allow me to thank the mover of the motion, Mr. Speaker, that is the Honorable Rogony, because this motion, Mr. Speaker, is even was supposed to have been moved even last year, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the problem that has belittled this county, Mr. Speaker, is the problems that we've been trying, Mr. Speaker, to find solutions, Mr. Speaker. One of the greatest challenge that we have in our county, Mr. Speaker, is the revenue collection, Mr. Speaker. You remember, Mr. Speaker, that we've had several meetings with His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Speaker, and the Finance Department, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one of the meeting, we used taxpayers' money, Mr. Speaker, to have a meeting in Mombasa, Mr. Speaker, and I want to, the Honorable Mesto will stand in for me, Mr. Speaker, for some other duties that I have. Mr. Speaker, I am saying this because, Mr. Speaker, we did the first meeting, Mr. Speaker, in Mombasa, the county executive members and the county assembly members, Mr. Speaker. The agenda of the meeting, Mr. Speaker, was revenue, and that is 1 year down the line, Mr. Speaker. Board are going to assist the county government of Kericho, Mr. Speaker, to meet its targets of revenue, Mr. Speaker. That was the first meeting in Mombasa, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, we spend public funds. We had a meeting in Nakuru, and we had a candid discussion with His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Speaker, plus the CEC in charge of finance, CEO in charge of finance, and the entire membership of the county assembly, Mr. Speaker. An hotel called Mboita in Nakuru, Mr. Speaker, which I think in future, Mr. Speaker, I want to refund the money that I spent in that hotel, because we did 2 meetings, Mr. Speaker, but there is no results, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I remember in the very meeting that we had in Mboita and Nakuru, Mr. Speaker, we even asked the governor that there were some officers that were taking this money, Mr. Speaker, but the governor said, leave alone this guy. I am using this guy to do my dirty work. If you remember in Nakuru, Mr. Speaker, and that is a governor saying that he's using a county officer who is the former CS, Mr. Speaker, that we removed from office through an impeachment, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the mover of the motion for impeaching that CS, Mr. Speaker, because the governor said, I'm using that guy to do dirty politics, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, number two, we had a meeting in Exotic Hotel, Mr. Speaker, trying to find a solution to this revenue issue, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, because if we don't collect, forget about development. Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, Mr. Speaker, you heard that Kericho County, from Auditor General's report, that Kericho County, we are number 42 out of 47. The counties that we are competing, Mr. Speaker, do have very few, revenue streams, Mr. Speaker. Imagine a county like Kericho competing with Tana River. A county like Kericho competing with Wajir, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, the reason, and I want to thank the mover of the motion, the reason why we are discussing these motions today, Mr. Speaker, is because the county executive, Mr. Speaker, we've been dealing with the CEOs and the CECs. But this time round, I want to thank the mover because we cannot go to branches every other time. We now want to go to the big tree. We fell down the tree and we make sure that this governor, Mr. Speaker, is taken back to the university, Mr. Speaker. I think he can do better in the university, Mr. Speaker, apart from the other issues that was raised by the mover of the motion, and that falls under the gender-based. And the Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, I know, is going to take time there, Mr. Speaker, but he is not supposed to preside over. Why we are saying this, Mr. Speaker, Article 179(4) of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, reaffirms the governor's position as the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Speaker, of the county, Mr. Speaker, and therefore, Mr. Speaker, the law vests the primary responsibility for decision making and ensuring the well-being of the county government, Mr. Speaker, rests squarely on the governor. Mr. Speaker, the reason why the governor is being impeached, Mr. Speaker, is because of the Article 179(4) of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, that positions the governor as the county executive. So when the county executive officer, Mr. Speaker, for example, if we have issues in this county assembly, Mr. Speaker, I can assure you, we will never go for a junior staff. We will come for your neck, because you are the executive officer of the county assembly of Kericho. So the governor, Mr. Speaker, has failed severally, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what we discussed, we had the Londiani accident, Mr. Speaker, where money were collected by the victims, Mr. Speaker. A fundraiser was done, Mr. Speaker, and in fact, there is the deputy president, Mr. Speaker, gave a donation of 2 million shillings, Mr. Speaker. But that donation was used the next day in a fundraiser that was in Buretis here and another place, Mr. Speaker. These are the money that is meant for the victims, Mr. Speaker, so that how inhumane, we are fundraising for victims that lost their lives, 53 to be specific, Mr. Speaker, and others that were hospitalized, Mr. Speaker. A whopping 13-point-something million, almost 14 million, Mr. Speaker, was collected to assist the family. The governor gave an assurance, Mr. Speaker, that there is no single victim that is going to pay for our hospitals, Mr. Speaker. I am privileged because I sat in that ad hoc committee that the governor later on referred to it, Mr. Speaker, as the funeral committee, Mr. Speaker. A well-constituted committee that was passed by this county assembly, Mr. Speaker, a governor calling such a committee, Mr. Speaker, a funeral committee, Mr. Speaker. That shows the governor, Mr. Speaker, demeans the county assembly and demeans these honorable members, Mr. Speaker. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I used to, in fact, at some time, Mr. Speaker, I was to begin my master's degree, law degree, Mr. Speaker, because I used to like this profession, Mr. Speaker. But today, Mr. Speaker, when Katwa Kigen, this is the Katwa Kigen that represented the sang in ICC, Mr. Speaker. But I saw somebody, Mr. Speaker, you cannot just be used, Mr. Speaker, to come and demean the county assembly, Mr. Speaker. In fact, from today, Mr. Speaker, I am proceeding to PhD in, Mr. Speaker, public policy and administration. That is why I mastered, Mr. Speaker, because I have seen there's nothing good in going to some of these cases, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, a money that was meant for the victim is being misappropriated, Mr. Speaker. Then, when the whistleblower, Mr. Speaker, who happens to be the deputy governor, Mr. Speaker, blew the whistle in TFC, Mr. Speaker, a committee was formed. We went to the bottom of that matter, Mr. Speaker. Then the county executive used now the public funds. Use the money that was in emergency fund to pay for some of the victims, Mr. Speaker. That is, Mr. Speaker, inhuman to our county governor, Mr. Speaker. Apart from the revenue, Mr. Speaker, yes. You've had one of the as I summarize, one of the junior staff, Mr. Speaker, said that the governor needs 500,000 on a daily basis, Mr. Speaker. What county are we running, Mr. Speaker? And that is why these people, Mr. Speaker, they do not want to automate the revenue, because once you automate the revenue, the issue, Mr. Speaker, of getting cash in your pocket, Mr. Speaker, will be a thing of the past once you automate this. Mr. Speaker, the only county in Kenya that still collect their revenue using manual, Mr. Speaker, and getting cash and using exercise books, Mr. Speaker, is Kericho County, Mr. Speaker. Which is a shame. This is a county, Mr. Speaker, that is endowed with resources, Mr. Speaker. If they cannot declare a single cent in Kabianga tea farm, a farm that has 400 acres of tea, Mr. Speaker. Personally, in my place, I have 5 acres of tea, Mr. Speaker, and I can give you the kilos because we are waiting for bonus, Mr. Speaker. I have 14,000 and some, 14,617 kilos, Mr. Speaker. And that is a 5-acre piece of land, Mr. Speaker, that I don't even manage well because I'm in politics. Sometimes members of the public goes to my farm, and, take the tea leaves to tea buying centers, Mr. Speaker, and I don't do anything because they are saying this. Then I'm getting almost that kind of kgs. A Kabianga tea farm, Mr. Speaker, with the county machinery collecting meal, Mr. Speaker. And as I wind up, Mr. Speaker, Ainamoi market, Mr. Speaker, they are declaring 400 shillings per day. You remember, Mr. Speaker, there was a statement that was raised by the Honorable Matthew, Mr. Speaker, and with all due respect, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge the honorable members. The only place, and in fact, the Honorable Tarimbo, Mr. Speaker, who is, I think, is vying for some bigger seat, Mr. Speaker. This is the only place that you can come here, Mr. Speaker.
Order, the Honorable Chariot, but do we have a name? We don't have a name.
The Honorable Paul Chirchira, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is the 16 members of the county assembly are ashamed to this county, Mr. Speaker. You cannot, Mr. Speaker, be taken, Mr. Speaker, hostage. I understand they are in an island in Uganda, Mr. Speaker, called Rusinga Island. An elected member, Mr. Speaker, leave alone the nominated, and I want to applaud the nominated MCAs that are stood with this cause, Mr. Speaker. You can take an elected member, Mr. Speaker, to an island in Uganda, Mr. Speaker, so that they don't appear before the county assembly to speak on behalf of the people, Mr. Speaker. That is shame, Mr. Speaker. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I have stayed in this county assembly long enough, Mr. Speaker. And they are spending the same revenue that we are trying to get solutions here in an island in Rusinga, Mr. Speaker. Another one called Matthew, Mr. Speaker, we were in a funeral in Kipchimchi, Mr. Speaker. He's saying unpalatable words to these honorable members, Mr. Speaker. He raised the Kazi Mutai statement, and that is why a committee was formed, Mr. Speaker. And he's now in Rusinga Island. He's the one busting these honorable members. But I want to tell them, Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, Mr. Speaker, they have a day to destiny, Mr. Speaker. We want to tell them, Mr. Speaker, we will never allow this county to go to the dogs, Mr. Speaker. We will send the chief executive officer of this county home, Mr. Speaker. But I want to assure you, Mr. Speaker, even those CECs that are running up and down, Mr. Speaker, trying to look for these honorable members, Mr. Speaker, even if they do demonstration from morning to evening, Mr. Speaker, we will never tire. Mr. Speaker, we want to assure you, we are prepared to work this journey, Mr. Speaker, and I hope the senators, once we pass, and I want to write the honorable members, when the history of the 3rd County Assembly will be written, Mr. Speaker, you will have a chapter or 2 as those MCAs who stood with the people when the people needed the most, Mr. Speaker. We are on the right side of history. When you go to impeachment motion of 2014 that was moved by Albert, Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, you were the CC in charge of finance, Mr. Speaker. When the motion was moved to hoster Professor Chepkwony, Mr. Speaker, when Chepkwony came back, Mr. Speaker, things now went straight forward, Mr. Speaker. So we want to tell the members here, Mr. Speaker, that we are not going to tire. In fact, we are going, Mr. Speaker, we will be bringing impeachment. Before the people of Ainamoi sent me home, Mr. Speaker, because of some 1, 2, 3 things that I never completed because there is no county resources, Mr. Speaker, I will send someone home so that he waits for me at home in 2027, Mr. Speaker. I will not allow, Mr. Speaker. So as I want, Mr. Speaker, allow me to thank these gallant soldiers, Mr. Speaker, and ladies, for standing on behalf of the people of Kericho. Never be bowed, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Ogon, this is your constitutional mandate of doing oversight, Mr. Speaker. So never tire trying to correct the county executive, Mr. Speaker. We will call them by their names. For the members of the county assembly who decided to go and joyride in an island in Uganda, Mr. Speaker, including the honorable members the 2 honorable members from Ainamoi, Mr. Speaker, I don't even speak about the honorable Ishma and honorable Noela, because these are nominated MCA who has no interest in Kericho County, Mr. Speaker. And this is the same person, Mr. Speaker, who nominated. How can you nominate someone who does not have interest in your county, Mr. Speaker? When matters like these are being discussed, Mr. Speaker, they are joyriding in Uganda, Mr. Speaker. I think we need to make it very clear that anybody who is going to be nominated in this county, Mr. Speaker, must have interest in Kericho County, Mr. Speaker. I want to applaud the Honorable Gekonya, Mr. Speaker, because he is one of the minorities, but they are living in this county. They know what the people of this county are going through, Mr. Speaker. And Gekonyo, when the history will be written, you stood with the minority community of this county. You stood with the majority community of this county, Mr. Speaker. If when you ask the Honorable Ishmael, where does he live? Does he has land in this county, Mr. Speaker, apart from the gases that he sells along the roadside, Mr. Speaker? Sell the gases along the roadside, Mr. Speaker, is even, Mr. Speaker, dangerous, Mr. Speaker. How can you set up a gas station along an highway, Mr. Speaker? And it must be removed. When you ask about the Honorable Mr. Speaker, where does he live? Where is his land in Kericho County, Mr. Speaker? Apart from living in some of these rented houses in this town. So we will make a statement as the leaders of this county, Mr. Speaker, that next time a nomination is being done, we need to look at someone who hails from this county. Even if you come from a minority, you need to have land, so that when we are discussing about the issues affecting the Kipsigis of Kericho, Mr. Speaker, at least you feel, how does Naila from Siaya feel the pinch of these people of this county, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, as I finish on behalf of the people of Inamoy, Mr. Speaker, I want to support the mover of the motion. I support the motion, and we will do our part, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
And as I finish, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, as I finish, the independence of various arms of government. The county assembly, Mr. Speaker, is independent. No arm of government, Mr. Speaker, should infringe on the rights of another arm of government, Mr. Speaker. If the purported orders, Mr. Speaker, has anything, they should wait for us to finish the process. Then if you think that your rights were infringed, you now go to other agencies, Mr. Speaker, to seek redress. So the county assembly is independent, Mr. Speaker, and we will do and discharge our mandate, Mr. Speaker, until the end of 2027. If God gives us another grace, Mr. Speaker, to represent our people either here or there, Mr. Speaker, we will be very grateful, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, thank you, and I support the motion.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Achiriot. But the Honorable Gilbert Ngatich, sorry. Gilbert Ngatich, the member from Rodet Ward. Kisiara, oh, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to represent the good people of Kisiara Ward, to also support a motion and give a reason, candid reason, why I do support this motion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I really saw the indications made by the motion mover, Mr. Speaker, I sat in a revenue committee whereby we were analyzing the sources of revenue and why are we not meeting the targets, Mr. Speaker, sir. And Mr. Speaker, I know you are the head of this assembly, and whatever the staffs are doing in this assembly, you are vicariously liable as far as the law is concerned. Mr. Speaker, whatever happening in this Department of Finance, where revenue is being embezzled left, right, and center, Mr. Speaker, is really wanting in this county, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, the reason as to why I really face it to be wanting is that Mr. Speaker will not meet the revenue targets, and eventually it will really make us not to work on development issue in our wards, Mr. Speaker. The sole reason, Mr. Speaker, why we are in this assembly is to work for our people, to take the projects home for our people, Mr. Speaker, sir. It will also make the stall project remain stall. Mr. Speaker, in my ward, I have a project called Pineapple Plant, which was started 20 years ago, and it has been used as a political mileage thing, whereby each and every person aspiring from those regions do talk of completing the plant, Mr. Speaker. But as I talk today, let me appreciate the honorable members of this House, mainly those who are really seated in the budget committee, because under strategic intervention in last financial year, you appropriated 50 million, which was including the, a portion for Pineapple Plant. This financial year, thank you again, you supported us from that sub-county to appropriate 100 million, which was meant for pineapple plants still. But as I come from that area, Mr. Speaker, from these 2 years, nothing has been done in that particular plant, irrespective of the fact that we really push hard in this assembly to have resources appropriated to include that particular stall project, Mr. Speaker. I cannot continue, Mr. Speaker, doing the rallying and requesting honorable members to consider this stall project, and eventually the money is not reaching them, Mr. Speaker. I stand very firm representing the people of Kishara that I do not want to see this project still to be a white element in that word, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is another stall project called Kericho Water Project, which was supposed to be serving all Buratians with a smart solution of water source in our sub-county. Mr. Speaker, the money from the county government was used to start the project, and some feasibility study was done. Every design was made. I do not know why, as we really appropriate funds for such a bigger project, Mr. Speaker, as I speak today, 2 years down the line, nothing has happened in that sub-county pertaining to Kericho Water Project. And as I said, Mr. Speaker, I have never seen any other alternative source, a clear source of water that can serve Bureti sub-county, because we used to say, because we now have a leader there, we should be having the place very fertile. But instead, Mr. Speaker, as I talk of this major project, it is wanting, and that is why I give in to support the motion. Mr. Speaker, I also know very well things pertaining to plantation, whereby I was in a committee where we really did an investigation on the revenue source, this Kabianga farm. Mr. Speaker, this land is about 400 acres. And an acre, Mr. Speaker, to make you know, because you really come from a sub-county where there is no tea, it has a plantation of 4,000 plants. And an average production of a plant is 2 kilos, Mr. Speaker, sir. That is 2 kilos per plant per acre, which is equivalent to 2 kilos per times 4,000 plants, which makes 96,000 kilos per acre by year. Mr. Speaker, when you multiply with 400 acres, Mr. Speaker, at least we get money that goes to 38 million, Mr. Speaker, sir. Now that the county government is just a big body, Mr. Speaker, with an additional of fertilizer, a good plant can produce up to 4 kilos when a good tea husbandry is done, Mr. Speaker. And what I'm saying is, we have this one again as another living white element, Mr. Speaker, where we earn zero revenue because of negligence and misappropriation, Mr. Speaker. I also sat in the committee of the investigating team who are really doing the so-called funeral committee. I was one of them. I saw what really happened in Londiani. Mr. Speaker, I went to the mortuary, not for the first time. I've been going alive then, to be more specific, to see what transpired, Mr. Speaker. And I found hands for people who were really buried some 3 days ago, just because of this misappropriation of funds. People were not actually given chance to do some pathology thing to identify a kind of a hand belongs to which person. Mr. Speaker, as I speak today, I have a victim in my ward confined to a wheelchair, a girl called Chepkoech from a family in Mabasi, where I do buy medicine, Mr. Speaker, up to date. Mr. Speaker, I could not really sit and really admit that such money can be misappropriated by people. I wish the governor, and I gave an advice, that in results of this particular ad hoc committee, please act on them. And that is why he said, Mangetujita. Eventually, the so-called perpetrators of misappropriation were seated in the government. Mr. Speaker, as I represent my people, I also still stand very firm that we cannot sit watching people misappropriating funds in the name of Ninyola Akwet. Mr. Speaker, I have to stand very firm and be categorical. The reason as to why we are in this assembly today is because we need developments in our wards. In representation, Mr. Speaker, my ward alone is left aside in the representation. Among the 6 wards in the sub-county, we are 7. I don't have any CEC nor CO, so meaning representation is 0. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand firm and I really stick to this. Mr. Speaker, as I end, let me just appreciate the motion mover, who is my neighbor. We share the pineapple plant together. The farmers from Sigawit, where Honorable Rogon hails from, are really expecting to really have good fetches from this pineapple plant, because they are selling, Mr. Speaker, in that Wena Road junction, Mr. Speaker, in a price of 10 shillings. And they even say this is Kalayaka. To me, they want to sell by force, even if they are not ribbon, Mr. Speaker. So, Honorable Motion Mover Rogon, I support this motion just because of the problems which are really existing. Mr. Speaker, as I end, Mr. Speaker, we appreciate the fact that we are really, we are not doing anything which is contrary. We are doing what the law allows us. We are really exercising our mandate as honorable members. Mr. Speaker, these resources again, even if they are Miaka as we see, we expect them to be distributed in these wards equally. Mr. Speaker, there was a scenario where an MCA was masquerading in a function that the His Excellency is using her to really hide some resources. Hiding resources when we are really giving our energy to really ensure those resources are within the budget line items, Mr. Speaker. I will never sit singing someone bragging that I'm being given the lion's share. Thank you so much.
All right, honorable members, thank you. As I give to other contributors, let me remind you that let's use parliamentary language as we contribute. The Honorable Erick B, and then I'll give to the Honorable Peter Gemoy, and I can see the Honorable Edna. I have seen Honorable Moses. Can we do that first, maybe in order, and then we can pick the others?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity just to contribute on this motion, Mr. Speaker. First of all, Mr. Speaker, let me thank the mover of the motion, who is my neighbor, Honorable Rogon, and the seconder, who is also my neighbor, Honorable Halbert. Mr. Speaker, these are great people who are coming from CISO, so in Singapour, Mr. Speaker, and they are really, by working hard in this motion, Mr. Speaker, is because of marginalization. You have been being marginalized for a long time, and today you are standing our unity to support this motion. First of all, Mr. Speaker, misappropriation, misallocation, and illegal drawing of the county finance and revenue, Mr. Speaker, which has been evidenced by this motion, Mr. Speaker, is the great violation of the Constitution, which has been tabled very well by Honorable Rogon, Mr. Speaker, whereby in the Public Finance and Management Act, it is very clear, as a presiding administrator, which is the governor, Mr. Speaker, he has actually refused deliberately and failed and neglected his duties, Mr. Speaker, by allowing the automation of the system, Mr. Speaker, of which, for our people, Mr. Speaker, we are not collecting anything. We are not getting any funds. Mr. Speaker, I have done my calculation here. When you less 359 from 859, Mr. Speaker, you get 500 from health. When you multiply 359, you less 200 from the land, Mr. Speaker, that is from the multinational, you remain with 159. When you also do calculation, 159 divided by 12, Mr. Speaker, every month, Mr. Speaker, we are collecting around 10 million. This is pure lies, Mr. Speaker, in this county. There are so many funds which are being misappropriated by one individual, Mr. Speaker. I want to say the case in point. I come from Kabdil Artet. There is a Sondu market which has been left, has been neglected, Mr. Speaker. There is nothing going on there. And we have put around 120 million for the construction of a market. The market, Mr. Speaker, is now idle. There's nothing in it. It has never been completed because of misappropriation of this fund, Mr. Speaker. So I stand and say that, Mr. Speaker, we are doing badly in this county, Mr. Speaker, not because of anything, anybody else, because of the county chief officer, who is the governor, Mr. Speaker. He is not doing his role, Mr. Speaker, by not presiding a very good administration which was given. We remember, Mr. Speaker, when the president took over, he introduced an e-citizen in 100 days, Mr. Speaker, whereby all the monies, all the collection are channeled to one account, Mr. Speaker, which is called e-citizen. Why are we failing in this county? Advertisement was done, evaluation was done, and the awarding was done. It was done last year, Mr. Speaker. There is nothing going on. The person who was awarded, Mr. Speaker, because he was not able to give out something, Mr. Speaker, he was denied. And we want to request the PPRA to take over the matter immediately, Mr. Speaker, in terms of revenue system. Mr. Speaker, number 2, Mr. Speaker, the issue of valuation role. Presiding administration, which has actually disregarded the valuation role, which was prepared and approved in this House, Mr. Speaker, in 2019. That means, Mr. Speaker, the person who is heading this county is not looking at the issues which is being passed by this Honorable House, Mr. Speaker. I want to believe that, Mr. Speaker, when a child is born, and when you observe for 3 to 9 months, Mr. Speaker, when you check on the standard growth, there is what is called standard growth. When you observe, there is no growth at all. You have to take that child for specialized medication. That is what we are doing right now, Mr. Speaker. We are putting in a specialized medication to this county, for this county to survive, Mr. Speaker. For our people whom we represent to get jobs. For our people, Mr. Speaker, to get water. For our people, Mr. Speaker, we know Gen Zs are just walking around, Mr. Speaker. They are looking for opportunities to be employed. But, Mr. Speaker, in our county, they are being told there is no job. Yet, 1 person, 2 people are hitting our money, Mr. Speaker. That is wrong, and we want to make this thing right, Mr. Speaker. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, because I don't want to take much time, there is the issue of misappropriation of public raised funds, which was overseen by the governor, Mr. Speaker. For the Londiani victim, I am one of the members who sat in the Harbor Committee as a vice chair, Mr. Speaker. Okay. Mr. Speaker, we found out that the fund which were collected was not given to the right people, the victim, Mr. Speaker. The national government gave theirs within a 1 week time. But, Mr. Speaker, the county government took over 2 weeks to be able to give out the fundraiser money. That is wrong, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say that justice must be done to this county, Mr. Speaker. And for this county to thrive, Governor must go. Thank you very much, Jesus.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Erick B. The Honorable Fancy Korir. And then I'll give to the Honorable Edna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this chance. And I rise to support the motion by Honorable Rogoñ that we must impeach the CEO of this county. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm one of the committee on revenue streams collection, and we've gone around all the markets, Mr. Speaker, sir, talking to our women, the good women who are selling burgers, and for sure these women are giving out their small contribution, but they are not reaching wherever they are supposed to be. They are being rained on, there are no toilets, and we are continuing to squander their money. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is very wrong. To my first point, the gender bill, which I've been really saying in this honorable house that we must have, and I continue saying that we must have this gender bill, because in our offices, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have the sexual advances, which in every time and again there is a complaint which has been filed against the office of the governor, and his office forms basis of consideration of removal of office, because this is an abuse of office. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is an exploitation of the highest order. This is an abuse of office. Mr. Speaker, sir, the other day we lost one small young girl called Tamara. She was defiled, strangled, and thrown out to the rivers. And up to date, Mr. Speaker, sir, no one in the governor's office has ever even condemned the act, Mr. Speaker, sir. No one has even followed the perpetrator to be in jail, Mr. Speaker, sir. This really gives me a lot of pain because I was nominated as the gender top-up, and I must stand with the daughters of Kericho County, and we must condemn all this, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, this Kericho County, we have a lot of gender-based violence, teenage pregnancies, defilement cases, FGM, and other sexual abuses. Mr. Speaker, sir, in our offices, I'm saying the gender bill because we must enact this bill. And this lies in executive offices, and we are waiting for it because one of the policies which we must have in these offices is the sexual harassment policy. I want to go back to the revenue, Mr. Speaker, sir. We went to Kabianga, T-Farm. The laborers are not getting salary, Mr. Speaker, sir. This is another abuse of office, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, this, our hospitals here, where our mothers are going to give birth, this one, when I want to speak about it, it really pains me a lot because, Mr. Speaker, sir, a bed is being shared by 3 women who has given birth. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is very wrong. Our women are suffering in this Kericho County because someone is squandering and really taking our revenue to other businesses which does not touch the lives of these women and men of Kericho County. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is so bad, and I must stand with this motion and support the removal of the governor of Kericho County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I must stand with these members who are in here because we've really supported one another because we need sanity in Kericho County. We really need progress in Kericho County. We must stand with these members up to the last moment. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support the removal of Dr. Mutai in his office. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. God bless you, the members who are in here, because you stood for the rights of these Kericho people, and they will count you in the near future that you said the truth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. God bless Kericho County.
Thank you, the Honorable Fancy, the Honorable Edna Tanui. Then I'll give to the Honorable Dr. Moses. Okay, fine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
Adjust your mic. Adjust your mic.
To thank
no, adjust your mic close.
To thank the mover of the motion, Honorable Recon, MCA Sigawet Ward, and also thank the members of County Assembly who have stood firm for the removal of Dr. Mutai, the Governor, Kericho County. Mr. Speaker, sir, when I went through this impeachment motion, I found the articles which I attest today, Mr. Speaker, sir, that in several times that I've gone to the office of the governor, Dr. Erick Mutai, on his table, we found the constitution and the articles of Kericho County on his table. And when I went through, I found the article number 10 of Constitution, section 3 and 16 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, and section 9, 10, and 12 of the Public Officer Ethics Act 2003 established, among others, the rules of law, democracy, human dignity, courtesy, respect, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, probity, professionalism, and non-discrimination, protection of the marginalized, good governance, transparency, and accountability. I believe, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the governor is aware of all these sections. And it is shocking, Mr. Speaker, sir, that numerous complaints of the governor in the incidents of indecent and unnatural sexual behaviors by female young girls of Kericho County accuses the governor of, for instance, forcing them to unconsented anal sex, dangerous and unprotected sex. I will never be seated here, Mr. Speaker, sir, when I was given a position by the people and women of Kericho County, watching our ladies, young girls, being misled in the interest of seeking for jobs. I know they have been visiting the governor, seeking for jobs, Mr. Speaker, sir. But the governor has been taking advantage of these young girls and women that they should have sex before they secure a position. Mr. Speaker, sir, I was given a nomination from the county of Belgut, sub-county of Belgut, Waldai Ward. And my name is Edna Tanui. Mr. Speaker, sir, today I stand here for the sake of people of Kericho County to stop the defilement cases. Instead, Mr. Speaker, sir, the governor would be financing funds to stop the defilement cases, which is in high rates in Kericho County, to stop the rape cases, which is taking place in Kericho County. When we raise these cases, Mr. Speaker, sir, there's none of other leaders listen to these cases, Mr. Speaker, sir. You find in the governor, instead of providing us money, allocating money to stop this high rate of defilement cases, he is busy leading the team to defilement cases, Mr. Speaker, sir. I stand today to stop that act, Mr. Speaker, sir. Secondly, I also stand here to stop the revenue leakages taking place in Kericho County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support this motion 100%. And I thank everyone here who has stood with us up to the end. As we proceed to Senate, I want to plead today that this motion should be bring to accomplishment, and the governor must move out of the office. Thank you,
Order. The Honorable Dr. Moses, and then I'll give to the Honorable Vincent Korir, and then I'll give to, because of time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak to this matter. I stand here, Mr. Speaker. I stand here, Mr. Speaker, to support.
Let's consult in low tones as we finalize, Honorable Matter.
I stand here, Mr. Speaker, to support this motion in totality. If there is a day, Mr. Speaker, that this House has taken what is right against what is popular, Mr. Speaker, is today. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I support this motion in totality.
All right, the Honorable Vincent Korir, and then Honorable Philip Mutai, and then Honorable Richard Langat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this motion.
Order, Honorable Edina. Order.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this motion. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to say that our role as members of this House is to do representation, oversight, and legislation. When you gave out the communication in the morning, I was surprised, Mr. Speaker, to see that a third of the members here ran away from this house instead of sitting here to defend or be for the motion. And it's shameful enough to have such kind of members. We took out of office to defend and protect the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, when you look at the revenue collection, which is mentioned in the motion, we as Kericho County, we are counted as one of the richest counties. And we should be above 1.5 billion in terms of revenue. But surprisingly, we are raising 300 million. The other 500 million that we are raising is only from the patients and the sick people of Kericho County. And for this reason, we are not going to continue riding on the sick people or the sick people of our county. Mr. Speaker, sir, the issues that have been highlighted in terms of the cash Mutai, in terms of the revenue collection, for example, look at Londiani. I want to prosecute the issues of my ward, that's the Londiani ward. We have 880 acres, but in our budget estimates, it was projected that 67,000 was collected.
Yes.
While in the instance, 2.8 million was collected, meaning there is loss of revenue. Mr. Speaker, sir, when we talk of the issue of Londiani accident, actually, it is so emotional to me and members coming from that sub-county, because we have victims who actually suffered a lot, and they are still suffering up to now. When the money from the national government was given out, it was shared equally and was not spent on any other thing apart from the victims. But the money that came from the county government was instead spent by kangaroo procurement team that misused the money. And for this case, on my side, I stand firm to defend the people of Londiani and say we must send the CEO of this county for misappropriation of victims for Londiani ward, for Londiani accident. And I stand with these members to say I support the motion. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Peter Kemoy, and then I'll give to the Honorable Peter Kemoy, and then Honorable Richard Langat, and then Honorable Philip Mutai, and then we can close from there.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir. I want to stand in support of this motion of the removal of His Excellency Dr. Erick Mutai. All have been mentioned, Mr. Speaker, sir. The only challenging issue is that one of the MCAs where the governor is coming from is in public domain, is in social media, that His Excellency has been hiding some resources through her, so that which means our revenue collection has been hiding in one of the MCAs where the governor is coming from. Your Excellency, sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to say that Honorable Amos Biril was elected by people of Cap Katet. When His Excellency went to his place and pronounced himself that honorable member is mentally blind and is also stupid, and the same people casted their votes to His Excellency, which means is demeaning his honorable MCAs. I want to urge that respect is paramount, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, sir. Recently, when we were doing some investigation, I think, Mr. Speaker, sir, some of the youths was doing demonstration in this town, requesting for their rights, requesting for the payments, and yet they deliver their duties when they were given responsibilities to do some of the works in this county. Instead of paying them, some of the individuals, some of the officers in this county went with their monies, and we are advocating that this county should pay for our youths who deliver their duties in this county. they are requesting for payment for 17 days, which was not paid for. And when we were sitting in the budget, it proves that the money was removed and paid all these youths. Where did the money went? And it was budgeted for. So we are demanding for their rights. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you so much, Honorable Richard Langat, the member of County Assembly for Kidawa, and then I'll give to Honorable Philip Mutai. Let us limit ourselves.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to support the motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, our county is going directly to the docks, Mr. Speaker, sir. For the county to be returned back to the normal state, Mr. Speaker, sir, the governor must be impeached. To redeem the bad name of this county, Mr. Speaker, sir, the governor must be impeached. To have an equitable resources, Mr. Speaker, sir, among our wards, Mr. Speaker, sir, the governor must be impeached. Mr. Speaker, sir, I can say our speaker, our governor is a liar. Mr. Speaker, sir, I can cite an example, Mr. Speaker, sir. When our governor came to my ward, he just picked a very poor woman of almost 50 years and promised her that she will be employed, Mr. Speaker, sir. To date, Mr. Speaker, sir, the woman is coming to my home, Mr. Speaker, sir, trying to, asking where her employment has reached, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, the governor must be impeached. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Philip Mutai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity.
Honorable members, let us consult in Lotons. Order. Yes, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity. And by extension, the great people of Kipchemchemum, I represent with a lot of honesty. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand in totality to support the motion. And I just want to congratulate the move of the motion for standing firm and putting it clear, short and clear, the allegations that are before this House on issues of impeaching the Honorable Governor. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the issue of revenue, just imagine, Mr. Speaker, sir, this century, collecting revenue using an excise book is at least expressing this revenue collection in this county is at a docks. I want to say, Mr. Speaker, sir, that we are robbing our traders across the county in our markets. Where the move of the motion comes from, that is Kiptere, one of the biggest markets within the town, within the county. Most of the traders have been crying about the amenities. Say that they refuse even to pay the revenue just because we steal from them and not even providing the amenities to them. Mr. Speaker, sir, still on the revenue, I know, and I want to be on record, I know of 2 revenue officers who have been collecting money to their personal advantage. In fact, 2 of them have been marrying. Each and every year they have been adding wives to their names. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, the 1/3 of our honorable members who miss this opportunity to come and exercise their constitutional mandate, I want to tell their residents that time is not lost. They can still recall them. And I want to be on record. On this, the following words. Kapkugerwet, Chaik word, Soin word, Kapsoid word, Kunyak word, Cheblanket word, Litain word, Chemosot word, Tebesonic word, Kipjebor word, Kabianka word. Let those people exercise their mandate and recall this honorable member. Because it is a total injustice to these people. So I just want to Lastly, I just want to congratulate my 31 strong team that we have stand firm with this great county of Kericho to at least give them favor they deserve. I raise my case by saying I support the impeachment of His Excellency, Honorable Dr. Erick Mutai, to go home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you. The Honorable Amos Birir, and then I'll give to the Honorable Paul B. That is the last submissions. Yes. As you adjust your mic properly and you will proceed, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for considering
Order.
the great people of Kericho.
Order. Let's consult in low tones. Order. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance so that I can contribute to support the motion which was raised by Honorable Rogoin and second by Albert. Actually, I want to congratulate the mover of the motion and honorable members for standing firm. We were sent here to represent the people, and it is really a shameful for some honorable members to move out of this house. Instead of defending the people, they run away. They run away, which shows those people are getting something. That is why they are running away. You know, when somebody is getting something, he has nothing to say because all the time he's satisfied with what he has been given. So I want to thank honorable members. Actually, our governor already has failed. I am somebody very old. I am representing the great people of Kapkatet, and I was elected. I think those people, they already satisfied that I am normal. That is why I was competing with 17 aspirants, and I was the only one who was honored by the people, and I was given the seat. And I am really surprised when honorable governor, as he came to Kapkatet and abused me, saying that I am blind and I am a deaf and I am a stupid, which means those people of Kapkatet are stupid, not me. Because Honorable Mutai was elected by the people of Kapkatet, and he respect him. And I'm really surprised when an honorable, somebody who is called Dr. Erick Mutai, he has enough education. Because sometimes he's complaining that how can I work with people who never went to school? What shows that he went to school? Huh? You cannot abuse somebody, an old man like me. I'm underage of his father. Because I was called by this age Korongoriot. So which means Honorable Mutai is my son. He needs to respect me. Even I'm too old, he needs to show respect to me. Sometimes, even if I never went to school, he needs to show me respect. So we were sent by our people to come and represent them to defend their properties. And it is really very bad for some few people to steal the properties of Kericho. I want to thank these people, 31 members, who have seen that our county we are losing a lot. Otherwise, honorable members, let us defend this county because the governor has failed. You better go and look another job because he has repeated the work.
Order, the Honorable Paul B. Order, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to speak on behalf of voters of Kapsaus who actually sent me to this assembly on their behalf. The trust, Honorable Speaker, that was bestowed on me and the oath of office that I took here to defend and to defend our county in so many ways and to defend our people. That is why I stood firm, and I really want to congratulate
the mover of the motion, my good friend, Honorable Rogoni, and the seconder. Honorable Speaker, we've come a long journey. That is trying to talk to our good friend, Honorable Dr. Mutai, Governor, Kericho County. On a personal note, I've been so close to him. I've taken my time actually to advise him. Having in mind, as was said by Honorable Jeriot Bet, we went to Mombasa some times back, 1 year ago, and we were trying to get some way out of, on ways to collect this revenue. We deliberated, we talked, and finally, there was no outcome. We came to Nakuru, as was said, and thereafter, when we finished the meeting, Honorable Speaker, on a personal note, I did call him again with the sentiments he made, the accusations that bring on the impeachment. I'll cut someone, at his neck. Honorable Speaker, I took my time and I immediately called him. As I stand here today, I'm not afraid to say Dr. Erick Mutai must go home. He must go home. He must go home because he doesn't take, advices from anybody. Honorable Speaker, the most affected word is my word. Have in mind, when we came in, there was a young CEO, what I call Wesley. He left because of the frustrations and, intimidations that he saw in this county. Secondly, we saw CEO Rosemary, who was in charge of finance, a very brilliant young lady who wanted to serve the county very well and to move, in terms of resources. We've talked on all these revenue streams that we must, automate, and maybe we do CCTV in some streets in this town. But because of the interest of one person, because of the interest that is not, it doesn't want to progress the county, we must say today he must resign or he must leave, with immediate effect. Honorable Speaker, I understand, there's a lot of movements in those offices because some staff are being moved left and right. Those are the kind of frustrations we would not like to see. Honorable Speaker, I was a chair, Kazi Mtaani. Have in mind, when we formed the ad hoc committee on Kazi Mtaani, I was a chair, and we made some observations, about 21 of them. We made some recommendations, about 24 of them. To date, no implementation, to show that he doesn't respect this honorable house. So I want to support my colleagues and to congratulate these gallant soldiers who stood firm and say, we must protect our county to progress. We must protect our resources. When we talk of Kabianga Tea Farm, Honorable Speaker, I was the chair of finance way back in 0207 when I was a councillor. And the proceeds from Kabianga Tea Farm, my colleagues, we used to pay bursaries for children. Today, as we sit here, we get nothing from Kabianga Tea Farm to show the man who is in the lead is not leading us well. And we must say he must be impeached. Thank you, and may God bless.
All right, thank you. Order, honorable members. Order. Now, the Honorable Ezron, you are one of the ranking members, and I had already pronounced myself that the Honorable Paul Kiptobi will be the one making final submissions. The Honorable Anthony Ruta too has also raised his hand. Honorable members, I'll give you 2 minutes each. 2 minutes each, and let us. Okay, all right. The Honorable Hezron Ngatich, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Sir, I'll use only 1 minute, Mr. Speaker. I was trying to sit down, Mr. Speaker, and it came to my mind that, Mr. Speaker, when the history of this county will be written, Mr. Speaker, I must be among in the chapters, Mr. Speaker. And to use this platform, Mr. Speaker, to tell the honorable members, Mr. Speaker, who are present in this honorable house today, Mr. Speaker, that this is a defining moment, honorable Speaker, where it defines politicians and leaders, Mr. Speaker. The honorable members who are in this house, Mr. Speaker, are leaders, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, leaders are those people, Mr. Speaker, who do what is right and not what is popular. We are doing the right thing, Mr. Speaker, by saving the Kericho County, Mr. Speaker. Some of the allegations which has been enumerated in that motion, Mr. Speaker, I support 100%, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is line to the members of the public, Mr. Speaker, on the issue to do with revenue, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish time will allow, Mr. Speaker, so that we dissect, so that the honorable members and the members of the public and members of the fourth state can realize, Mr. Speaker, the lie which has been being told about revenue, Mr. Speaker. That in the last financial year, Mr. Speaker, we collected 841, Mr. Speaker. The actual money which was collected, Mr. Speaker, is 359, Mr. Speaker. Another which was collected on the hospital, Mr. Speaker, is 185, Mr. Speaker. The additional, the other FIF is called Facility Improvement Fund. That is not a revenue, Mr. Speaker, because those are NHIF rebates and those are the monies which cannot be used on development, Mr. Speaker. So the true position of what we collected, Mr. Speaker, is only 359. And Mr. Speaker, let me inform the Honorable House, Mr. Speaker, out of the 359 million which was collected, Mr. Speaker, were it not for the multinational who gave us a check of 105 million for land rate, Mr. Speaker, we will have collected merely 100 something, Mr. Speaker. So this county, Mr. Speaker, is in docs, Mr. Speaker, because they have disregarded the laws and the regulation which we have passed in this house, Mr. Speaker. The valuation role is capable of collecting 1.2 million to this county, Mr. Speaker. But what is happening, Mr. Speaker, they have disregarded the valuation role. And Mr. Speaker, some of the witnesses which we call, because we were in the revenue committee, Mr. Speaker, there is one lady, Mr. Speaker, who is almost exiting service. I don't want to name her specifically, Mr. Speaker, but he confessed in this floor, honorable house, Mr. Speaker, that, Mr. Speaker, she has served and she has only 2 years to exit service. But what she has seen in the last 2 years under this administration, Mr. Speaker, she was pissed off, Mr. Speaker, because she said, whatever we collected and recorded in the ground, Mr. Speaker, is different from what has been recorded here, Mr. Speaker. That shows, Mr. Speaker, how this county has gone to dogs, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for us to save this county, Mr. Speaker, we have to raise up with rise to occasion, Mr. Speaker, and ensure this motion passes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm an engineer by profession, Mr. Speaker, and I'm a mathematician, Mr. Speaker. And the mathematics, and there is one thing which has been a very difficult maths to be handled by all mathematicians, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you give a single person here to count 1 billion shilling, he will count it in a simple manner, Mr. Speaker. But when you give a single person to count 100 votes, he cannot, Mr. Speaker. This is the same as now as being in this quagmire. Because, Mr. Speaker, we are even unable to do for class 4 mathematics to define what is a third, what is 2/3, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker, I have a high regards to the Deputy Speaker of this House, Mr. Speaker. Because every now and in time when he sits there, Mr. Speaker, he normally used to say, Mr. Speaker, we need to have 16 members to form a third, which forms the quorum of this House, Mr. Speaker. If 16 members forms a third, Mr. Speaker, what makes what is 2/3 now? It's simple mathematics, which doesn't need a calculator, Mr. Speaker. You just say 47, you lay 16, you get 31. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, we are dealing with human beings. We are not dealing with ceilings and cents, Mr. Speaker. Even if we go to the fraction way, let's say a third, 1/3 over 47. It is 15.66. So because it is beyond 5, we round out to the nearest digit. That forms 16. That is why you have our quorum as 16, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, 2/3 of 47 makes 31.33, Mr. Speaker. We don't have 0.33 of a person, so we round off to the nearest decimal point, Mr. Speaker. That forms 31. Simple mathematics, which was taught in class 4, which doesn't need even interpretation. Mr. Speaker, as I finalize, Mr. Speaker, I know you are more informed than us, Mr. Speaker, and I know we have several case laws, we have several incidences whereby most of the assemblies and most of the has been found themselves in this quagmire, and there must be a ruling. So, Mr. Speaker, you guide the honorable house and inform those honorable members that, Mr. Speaker, this is a game of wits.
Thank you.
Thank you. I support the motion.
Lastly, the Honorable Anthony Ruto.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity so that I may also support this very important motion. I want to congratulate and applaud the 21 honorable members, 31 honorable members who chose to take a very hard decision. Honorable members, Honorable Speaker, sir, a good leader shows the way and walks the way. And it comes a time when a good leader has to make hard decisions. It is at this particular time where we are required to make hard decisions. I want to congratulate you for taking those hard decisions to end status quo in Kericho County. It is common sense that Kericho County is among 47 counties in Kenya. But it is among those ones that are endowed with a lot of resources. It is very unfortunate. It is shameful for counties like Homa Bay, Wajir, Turkana, collecting over 1.something billion in terms of their own source of revenue. Kericho is doing at 300, 200. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Honorable Speaker, sir, I was a teacher for a long time. And when a school performs poorly, the head teacher takes the responsibility. When an institution performs poorly, it is the head teacher that takes the responsibility. Kericho County is performing poorly. The person who is supposed to take responsibility is the governor, Dr. Erick Mutai. Honorable Speaker, sir, for instance, in Kipkelion, we have 30 acres of coffee. Before the inception of devolved units, it was under Kipkelion Town Council. We used to collect 5 million and above. As we are speaking now, we are not even getting 1 million in that coffee farm. If, in simple mathematics, 1 acre has 30 bushes. 1,000. 30 times 1,000 is 30,000. Averagely, you can be able to get 5 kilos. Let us say 5 per tree. 30,000 times 5. 150 kilos. 150,000 kilos. Multiplied by even 100 shillings per kilo. 15 million. We should be getting 15 million in coffee farm in Kericho. But as we are speaking now, we are getting 1 million. That is shameful. So we want to say, Honorable Speaker, sir, without mixing our words, Governor Mutai has to take responsibility. So I stand on behalf of the people of Kericho that Governor Mutai should carry his own cross. And I want to make this one clearly, Honorable Speaker, sir, and loudly. We want our people back there at home to understand that when we don't collect revenue, meaning that we will not be able to carry out programs and projects back there in our wards. For us to be able to carry out projects and programs, we must make sure that we correct this problem of revenue collections once and for all. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Anthony Ruto. Honorable members, before I call upon the mover to reply, order, Honorable members. Before I call upon the mover of the motion to reply, that is the Honorable Kiprotich Rogony, standing order number 78.3, provides that when the Speaker is satisfied that the motion has been adequately debated, of which I am satisfied, the Speaker shall call upon the person who is being removed from office to answer issues raised in the debate, and thereafter call upon the mover of the motion to reply. Honorable members, as you are also aware, that His Excellency the Governor, Dr. Erick Mutai, sent his 2 councils, which on record, honorable members, they forego the opportunity to fully defend their client, citing a court order, of which I must state it here and let it be on record that as a Speaker, the alleged court order is not before me, and I did not receive it. And therefore, since they are not here to represent the client anymore, I now call upon the mover of the motion, Honorable Kiprotich Rogony, to make his reply for a period not exceeding 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the members who've contributed to this motion. Mr. Speaker, it's been overwhelming. Had it not been for time, each and every member present here today would have contributed to the motion. Mr. Speaker, members have deliberated on the issue extensively. Mr. Speaker, standing order number 74, 4, Mr. Speaker, states that upon the expiry of the 7 days notice, Mr. Speaker, this motion was properly before the House. The Governor had an opportunity, pursuant to Article 50 of the Constitution, to defend himself here today. But because, Mr. Speaker, he disguised the whole thing using a court process. And I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, because the members here have stated you cannot injunct a process that has already started. In fact, Mr. Speaker, a member reminded me of an operation, a patient on an operation table, that if, say, the stomach has been opened and a court order comes, does that imply that the doctor will leave the patient on the table to die or continue with the operation? Mr. Speaker,
this House, having started the motion on the impeachment of the governor, could not be stopped by any court of law. And by any chance, Mr. Speaker, we gave a notice 7 days ago. The governor had an opportunity to use every other means if he wanted to be heard. Mr. Speaker, the governor is as guilty as charged. Mr. Speaker, I want to point out two issues. One, even the court order that was obtained by Joseph Kogo, Josiah Kogo. You know, Josiah proved before courts that the land belonged to him. The governor disregarded the order and continues to use the land belonging to somebody else as a dump site. In fact, by the court itself, ruling on the matter proves that the governor violated Chapter 6 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, the case of Alice Bett being nominated to replace Gideon Mutai as a county attorney. Mr. Speaker, again, the courts, in fact, adjudged the governor. And that means the governor is guilty and he ought not to be holding office as we speak. Mr. Speaker, why would you go to court to obtain an order to stop this House, you know, stating rightfully that you violated Chapter 6 of the Constitution? Mr. Speaker, this governor, after this, and I want to beseech the members, when the voting comes, let us vote to impeach this governor. He has no place in this county. Mr. Speaker, I want to give you three issues. Number one, Article 1 of the Constitution, the sovereign power of it belongs to the people of Kenya. And the same power is exercised both ways. One, directly by the people, or indirectly by the people elected to represent those people. Mr. Speaker, we sat as a House, given the mandate by the people, to ensure their issues are heard and determined. Mr. Speaker, any member who absconded this session today should be, called to order. Such individuals, wherever they are coming from, ought not to be holding those offices. Because one, they had an opportunity to argue their case before this House. But unfortunately, they stayed away. Mr. Speaker, Article 2 of the Constitution, the supremacy of this Constitution, it binds everyone, all the state officers and state organs. Mr. Speaker, the governor is bound by the same Constitution. Unfortunately, he has gone an extra mile and disobeyed the same Constitution. Mr. Speaker, this governor should, stands impeached. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, Article 3 of the Constitution, the defense of this Constitution. We have that opportunity to defend the Constitution. That is the guiding principle in this country, Mr. Speaker. Now, where we have a governor who's violated every single article of the Constitution, he shouldn't be allowed to continue governing this county. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, in Kable Lartet ward, my neighboring ward, there is a nurse who retired. The facility was closed for 3 months because there is no staff hired because of lack of revenues. Mr. Speaker, the people had to demonstrate for the Department of Health to go and pick one of the nurses in one of the facilities. Mr. Speaker, my ward, we have a sub-county hospital called Sigawet. I went there one night, and there is a nurse who covered both the outpatient department and the inpatient, that is the wards. Mr. Speaker, these staffs are overwhelmed. Go to district hospital here, people complain for lack of service delivery because we do not have the personnel. And the personnel is hired by the county if we had revenues. This governor, Mr. Speaker, ensured that all the money is meant for this county is stolen for us not to get the service that people ought to get. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, I have a facility in my ward called Coilsir Dispensary. I know of a facility in Soliat ward which is ready for commissioning, but there is no staff. In Cheboin ward, we have the same facility, but without staff. Anytime we go to to those places, people keep on asking, why has the facility not been opened? And our answer is because we do not have staff. Raya do not understand
who is supposed to get them that staff to run the facility. Mr. Speaker, this governor failed this county. This governor, when he came on board, he majored on non-issues and minored on serious issues. Mr. Speaker, I want to implore on this house, let us impeach this governor. He has to get out of this county for us to have this county back on track. For us to have the ECD teachers hired, this governor must go. For us to have our facilities, you know, having the requisite number of personnel to run those facilities, this governor has to go. For us to have the instructors in all our various VTCs getting that proper remuneration, Dr. Mutai has to go. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and I implore on the members, when the voting time comes, let us vote to impeach Dr. Mutai. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Kiprotich Chagwan, for replying to the special motion. And honorable members, pass one now to the provisions of Standing Order number 64-2. I shall rise to put the question, which is that the Assembly resolves to impeach the governor under Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Government Act, and Standing Order number 74 of Kericho County Assembly Standing Orders, on the grounds as moved in the special motion by Honorable Kiprotich Rogon, citing A, gross violation of the Constitution and other laws, B, abuse of office, and 3, gross misconduct, as tabled before this House. Will as many as are of that similar opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of that contrary opinion say nay? And the ayes have it. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, this, as you are all aware, and I want to make some ruling. Honorable members of this House, this morning we received a list of the members that have resolved that they shall not participate or will not attend this morning session. But I will give an opportunity, probably, if one of them or so may have arrived. I would like to know. And before then, I would just like to highlight that pursuant to Standing Order number 83, the voting will be done through roll call voting, where honorable members will be called in alphabetical order, and when so called, a member will declare from where he or she sits that either I vote aye, that is yes, or I vote nay, that is no, or I abstain. This is the only way we shall ascertain as to whether the threshold for impeachment in terms of numbers are required by Standing Order and County Government Act is met. As the division bell is being run by Sergeant at Arms, I will request the members of the ayes and the nay side to each nominate a teller and forward their names to the clerk at the table. And I now, therefore, before then, I'll request also that since we have the 16 members who have signed, I have two lists here, honorable members, 16 members who have appended their signatures against the impeachment, and I have 31 members who have also appended their signatures in support of this impeachment of Dr. Erick Mutai. And I therefore, if you may take side so that I can get to see clearly as we vote. Do you take those sides? And then, order, honorable members. As you nominate the teller for the ayes side. Who is the nominee for the Honorable Erick B? Clerk, you can you note that. And secondly, is the nay side. We have one. I have seen in my left should be the nay side, and there's none. Okay, on my right, sorry, on my right, sorry, on my right is the nay side, and on the left is the aye side. I now order and therefore call upon the sergeant at arms to ring the division bell for a period not exceeding 10 minutes. The bell must be rung. Those are procedures. Procedures must be followed. The bell must be rung for a period not exceeding 10 minutes. Honorable members, let me inform you that when the bell is being rung, they thereafter lock the door, and we shall draw the bar after the completion of period not exceeding 10 minutes. And then at that period or at this period, honorable members, you are not allowed to go outside or leave the chambers until when we finalize. Honorable members, I think since I had read in my communication as we wait for the bell to, because it's procedural that the bell must be rung for a period not exceeding 10 minutes. I think let me take this opportunity, since I had read the names for those who have will not attend or participate, allow also me to go through the names of those who also appended the signature. Their signatures in support of a motion for the removal of Governor Dr. Erick Mutai, PAD by impeachment. Number one, Honorable Philip Kericho, who is the leader of majority. Yes. 2, Honorable Aaron Kairu Tich, who is the majority chief whip. Yes. Number 3, Honorable Francis Kore, who is the deputy majority leader. Yes. Number 4, Honorable Philip K. Mutai, who is the area MCA for Kipchimchim. Number 5 is Honorable Amos K. Birir from Kapkatet. Number 6 is Honorable Kiprotich Ravon, who is the mover of the motion. Number 7, Honorable Irene Chebet Langat. Number 8, Honorable Hezron Kipungano from Chilchila. Number 9, Honorable Kemoy Kibet Peter from Kapsusar. Number 10, Honorable Anthony Ruto from Kipkelion. Number 11, Honorable K. Vincent Gorir from Londiani. Number 12, Honorable Erick B. That is from... you are from where? Cardinal Heritage, yes. And then number 13, Honorable Beatrice Chepkemoi from Ainamoi. Number 14, Honorable Cheska Jamwana from Bureti. Number 15, Honorable Kiptapol B from Kapsaos. Number 16, Honorable Lile Sirma from Ainamoi. Number 17, Honorable Francis Terrer from Jeboin Ward. And number 18, the Honorable David Maritin from Chepseon. 19, the Honorable Gladys Seabet from Seoin Shigawet. Number 20, the Honorable Richard Langat, that is from Kedawa Kinawil. And we have number 21, the Honorable Julius Hill from Waldai. Number 22, the Honorable Evelyn Jogwawan from Chepsion. Number 23, the Honorable Moses Rotich from Tendama, Sorowet. Number 24, the Honorable Vincent Kimnatich Koske from Chilchila. And number 25 is the Honorable Gilbert Ngatich from Kisiara. And number 26, the Honorable Dora Keino from Chipseon. Number 27 is the Honorable Masiki Kono from Tendano. Tendano Soget, Londian. Tendano Soget, okay. And number 28 is the Honorable Edina Tanui from Waldai. And 29 is the Honorable Monica Chelangat from Caps House. And number 30 is the Honorable Albert Kipkoich, that is from Soliat, who was the seconder. And number 31 was is the Honorable Bet Cheruyot, that is from the Honorable Ainamoy, from Ainamoy Ward. This was prepared by the clerk, pass 1 to Kericho County Assembly Standing Order number 74-1, and before the clerk, signed by the clerk, 2nd October 2024, Martin Epus Clark Patrick, clerk to the Kericho County Assembly. I don't know whether 10 minutes is over. Is 10 minutes over, clerk? The opposite side are not. Clerk, do we have anyone from the opposite side? All right, honorable members, then we proceed. I want to believe you have already drawn the bar and locked the door. You draw the bar and lock the door. You draw the bar and lock the door. Confirmed, it's done. So, honorable members, I have received the name of Honorable Erick B., that is a MCA for Kaplela Ward, who has been nominated by his side, representing the ICE side. Unfortunately, I haven't received any name from the NAY side, and therefore I ask the Honorable Erick B. to come forward and take your seat at the side of the dispatch table, which should be on my left, or on my left. Is that left? Yeah, because ordinarily the right side should have been the other side. Honorable members, we shall now commence our voting, and our clerk shall take the votes. Clerk to take roll call and confirm the results with both tellers and other clerks.
Number 1 is Honorable Cheriot Bet. Bet Erick Kipkoroi. Bet Erick Kipkoroi. Bet Gladys Chesang.
I vote yes. I vote yes.
B. Victor.
I vote yes.
Chebwagen Evelyn. Chelangat Ma.
I strongly vote yes.
Chepkuri Edina Tani.
I vote yes.
Chepnieno Gabriela. Chepkemoi Beatrice.
I strongly vote yes.
Chepnieno Jessica.
I vote yes.
Chepkuri Bavina. Cheriot Martin Kiplangat. Chirchir Paul Kibegon. Isaac Matkei. Kigonyo Masi Njere.
yes.
Keino Kemgetich Dora.
I vote yes.
Kemoi Peter Kibet.
%, I vote yes.
Kipkoech Albert.
I vote yes.
Kipnieno Hezron.
I vote yes.
Kipnieno Keroi. Keroi Vincent Kipnieno. Keroi Vincent Kipnieno. Korir Francis Chepkorir.
On behalf of the good women of Kericho County, I vote yes.
Korir Vincent Kipkurei.
On behalf of the people of Londiani, I vote yes.
Kifrotich Rogon.
On behalf of the great people of Sigawet, I vote yes.
Korir Matthew Kipkurei. Osgei Kimgetich Vincent.
On behalf of Kericho County Youth, I pick yes.
Osgei Simon. Langat Chepkoech Winnie. Langat Irene Chebet.
I vote yes.
Langat Richard Cheriot.
On behalf of the people, the great people of Kedawa Kimugul, I vote yes.
Maritim David Kipkoror.
Seriously, yes.
Midei Anita Cherono.
The Honorable Maritim, you say either you vote, there is no seriously. So you repeat again, please. Kind
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. 100% yes. I vote yes, 100% and seriously.
Are you affected by the 1 minute? Okay, proceed, clerk.
Midei Anita Cherono. Mutai Dominic Kipkurei. Mutai Philip Kipnieno.
On behalf of the great people of Kipchimchim, I honestly vote yes.
Ngetich Gilbert Kifrop.
I vote yes.
Opile Noela Omolo. Rono Philip.
On behalf of the people of Kamashan, I vote yes.
Rotich Moses Cheriot.
Order, clerk. You said order? Oh yeah, that's okay. Proceed.
Okay. Rotich Haron Kipkemoi.
Oh yeah.
Rotich Haron Kipkemoi.
On behalf of good people of Seretut, Cheptororiet Ward, I vote big yes.
Now, Rotich Moses Cheriot.
On behalf of the great people of Tendeno Soget, I vote yes.
Rob Naman Kipsgei. Ruto Anton.
I vote yes.
Siele Julius Kipkorir.
I vote yes.
Sirma Lily Chepkemoi.
On behalf of Kericho Women, especially market, I vote yes.
Terer Francis Kiplangat.
I vote yes.
Clerk, you
can confirm the results with the teller that we have. That is the Honorable Erick B. You can proceed to that in front of the table. Table clerks. Yes, clerk. Honorable members from honorable members, honorable members from our records, honorable members submitted to me by the clerk, confirmed by the teller, the Honorable Erick B, that the total votes of 31 has been confirmed for the ayes side. But however, honorable members, if none has voted, I still present this opportunity if anyone in the House probably that I have not seen. And from the look of things, there is none. So there being none, honorable members, it now appears to me that all members who are present and who wish to vote have done so. I now direct the clerk again to read out the results. Please, as per our standing orders. Clerk reads out the results as per the standing orders. So you confirm, yes, you read, you say, proceed.
That one voted yes. That is the for the motion. 60.
Honorable members, I now, before I declare the result, I want to address the question that has been raised not only by the legal counsels representing the governor, as well as also the honorable members who have contributed in the flow of the House. Honorable members, this being a question that has a threshold of a resolution of 2/3 of the members to pass, and considering that the 2/3 of the membership of this House is 31.33, that is 31.33, I have deliberately struggled to understand the implications of the decimal points 33, knowing very well no human being is to be treated incomplete. I have allowed myself to be guided by the decision of Honorable Justice Manani in the case of Michael Justin Nkadunda versus County Assembly of Tana River, and for others. That was Constitutional Petition 006 of 2021, which was filed in 2022, KEE LRC 1605, KLR dated 29 July of 2022, in which the Honorable Judge, when confronted with a similar question in a similar scenario, held as follows. In effect, the ad hoc select committee, I quote, in effect, the ad hoc select committee must comprise of at least 1/3 of the total membership of the first respondent for it to be compliant with the first respondent's SOs. The parties are in agreement that the first respondent had, at the time of the matters giving rise to the course of action in this case, a total of 23 members of the County Assembly. It is also common ground that mathematically a third of this membership is about 7.6, that is 7.6 persons. And as a natural person cannot be fragmented into a fraction, the logical thing will be to round off the decimal 6 to the nearest round number. I still quote, in terms of matters rounding off, the standard practice is that when there is need to round off, one rounds off to the nearest number. In this case, the nearest number to 7.6 is 8 and not 7. The threshold issue with regards to the County Assembly quorum was also determined by the Nairobi County Assembly through its communication dated 6 September 2017 from the clerk of the County Assembly while conducting an election of the Honorable Speaker, who further determined that the quorum of the County Assembly is 41, that is a third, members out of 122 of the County Assembly. The 2/3 threshold then was determined to be 81, that is 2/3 for the Speaker to have been duly elected. Honorable members, based on the foregoing, I give the direction that the 2/3 of the membership of this House required to pass the motion for impeachment of His Excellency the Governor is 31 members. My position is fathomed further by the fact that we have customarily and by practice since the inception of devolution taken 1/3 of the members of this Assembly House to be 16, meaning the balance of the members being 2/3 is equivalent to 31. Honorable members of this House, I have pronounced myself on that matter, and therefore declares that the motion seeking the removal of impeachment from office of the Governor for Kericho County, Honorable Dr. Erick Mutai, by impeachment has been supported by 2/3 of the members of the County Assembly of Kericho. I therefore declare that the motion is passed and the Governor, Dr. Erick Mutai, stands impeached by the County Assembly. Order, honorable members, we have come to conclusion of our special motion in regards to the removal of office of the Governor for Kericho County, Honorable Dr. Erick Mutai, by impeachment, and therefore, being there no other order of business, this House stands adjourned until this afternoon at 2:30 p.m.